King Kong ain't got shit on.
Trapped under plastic. The podcast for the small percentage of food lovers that play or paint Warhammer.
That's our targeted audience right there. That's our small niche. We're looking for adults, largely male, ages 18 to 34, who are into hard and or soft cookies and also mini painting.
Yeah, all 7 of you.
Speaking of hard cookies and soft cookies, what's on your hat right now?
Bro, we're going to just jump right into Preamble Ramble right now. Hitting it hard, hitting it fast.
Not the preamble ramble.
Yeah, this is the pre.
Just straight into the...
So when we were out at LVO, we received a gift.
Actually, a couple gifts.
We received many gifts. Showered in them.
Yeah.
Literally. One of those gifts were the hats on our head right now, a.k.a. ketchup and mustard. I'm obviously the ketchup.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because your hat is red. For those who are colorblind. We got these lovely hats from Matt Sexwish and Ben Komitz, and they can have any kind of phrase you want on the front here. And so John came up with a fake company that is basically spearheaded by Ben and Matt called Sex Comet. And so that's what I am featuring here on my billboard forehead.
Yeah, I told them I'm disappointed in them that they hadn't thought of this idea sooner, that I had to bring this to them. The last names
I had to bring this to you.
Why should I have to bring this to you? Sexwish and Comets, obviously the collaboration of the two of them is Sex Comet.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's like your pinup line right there. There you go.
Right. Yeah, so if you ever wanted to have a billboard on your forehead while keeping your ears warm, just go to Germany and get these hats.
Actually, Poland, I think.
What? Oh, yeah.
It's Polish. But yeah, they're actually really cool. I like them a lot.
Yeah, and mine's obviously Hard Cookie Nation. I forgot the hashtag in the front.
There you go. That's what you need. There is a hashtag on the sheet, right?
I know, and
there
I fucking missed that train.
Dude. Oh, wow.
Like a chode.
Speaking of chodes, no. Speaking of hard cookies, I'm a fan of Good Mythical Morning, and recently they did a little episode of, I don't know what it's called, but they basically survey their audience and then try to guess what their responses are. And then if they're right and close to the percent, they get some odd points. It's a game they have.
Yeah. A made-up game where points don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of the questions was, of your audience, which of them prefer soft cookies to hard cookies? And they have to guess, 50, 60%, like whatever it is, like how it leans. Okay. And so they guessed like a modest 60-40, preferring soft cookies. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
60-40. And the actual fucking result was like 85 or 90 soft cookie to hard cookie. So I just felt extremely validated in that moment,
dude,
by someone else's audience.
I love that the Hard Cookie Nation is small but mighty.
Small and powerful.
Right, we need to be hardy folk.
Okay, there you go. Right, exactly. Most of you guys live in Minnesota too. It's like you're just hardy. You just weather it all. You're like,
there's a big fucking asterisk with that, right? Because obviously, if you're taking into account home baked cookies,
right? Yes.
I mean, it's soft cookies,
right?
We're not talking about this.
Yeah. The question is simple. It's just like kind of gut reaction. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
So probably most people are influenced by store-bought cookies and not so much homemade.
Sure. Yeah. So Rhett and Link, while you're watching this episode, know that you need to put an asterisk on that.
Yeah, you have to put asterisks on your survey for your one episode game shows.
Hashtag Hard Cookie Nation.
It's very important. Yeah. All right, what do you got for some preamble ramble?
Some rambles. Well, I did have the talking about the hats, but we already checked that off.
Oh.
We do a little spoilery. It's something that's was found exciting to me, but probably is not exciting to anybody else. Is you and I, we did some adulting this week.
We did. We had a meeting.
Dude, we had a meeting with a rep. I'm going to say senior rep.
Senior vice executive rep.
Jessica from Spotify. Yeah, and what I was hoping that she was going to do is offer us an exclusivity contract for $1 bazillion.
Yeah, I would have taken it.
Yeah,
I'm a sellout.
It would have been like, she had given us like $600 in like a case of Cakesters. We'd have been like, all right.
I thought at first you said $600 in queso, and I was like, all right, yeah, some queso.
Dude, a case of queso.
I'll take it.
All right, yeah.
I'll do it for the queso.
I mean, Jesus Christ, I gotta buy my own chips, but I think I had the $600 to buy enough chips.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so we did a little talking. We learned some stuff. Like, it's really nice
Yeah.
to like have somebody kind of reminded me of back when I worked for the Man, and like there was people that worked within your organization that like knew shit that you didn't know, and like you had somebody that you could turn to and ask questions and that kind of thing. And it's just like, oh damn, Jessica, you're so nice.
Yeah.
You're teaching us stuff. Scott asked 7,000 questions and you answered all of them.
All of them.
She answered all of them. She's got a new puppy corgi at home.
Yes.
We feel like
We're connected to Jessica.
Yeah, we're connected now. And so we might have some fun things in the works that those of you that listen to us through Spotify will be able to take advantage of, or to give you another alternative. So
Yeah.
that's all I can say about that.
Yeah. Basically, the outcome of the meeting was a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Which is great. Those are far and few between. So it's you got to rejoice when you experience those. So it's good.
Yeah, and the third win in that win scenario is y'all, the Goody Peepees, right?
We're all winning right now.
Yeah, no one is going to lose out. It's only addition in this, no multiplication or long division. Last thing I want to talk about is my last weekend. So we're 2 weeks removed from LVO, which we're going to talk about today. But last weekend was the pre-release weekend for Phyrexia All Will Be One for Magic the Gathering. And I had a weekend magic. Now, I know the Goody Peepees probably don't care about games that they don't care about, but
That is a fact, actually.
they listen to you talk about Song of Ice and Fire and that shit. So they had to listen to this. So one of my local stores had a pre-release tournament each day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I went to all three. So I was going for the decathlon. I don't know.
Dang.
Triathlon. That's it.
Yeah. Wasn't 10 of them.
Yeah, so there was the amount of players I think it was 38 Friday, 28 Saturday, and 26 on Sunday. So a sizable field for each day. I went 3-0 on Friday and ended up in second place based on tiebreakers alone. On Saturday, I went 3-0 and ended up in first fucking place, and I got a store champion playmat.
Did you get a giant fucking check made out to John Nenas?
No,
for $100
I got free packs of Magic cards. And then third place, I was going for the triathlon, triple 3-0, and then I was going to like leave my old life behind and join the Magic Pro Tour, which doesn't exist anymore. And I lost my last match, so I ended up 2-1. And I made some grave mistakes in deck building. I did not build the optimal deck.
How could you?
I know I was 3-0 if I don't get blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche. And I gotta say, man, I fucking love Magic cards, dude.
Do you?
I try so goddamn hard.
The smell, the feel.
Oh yeah, when you open that pack, you smell those cards. They smell way better than plastic sprues. Dude.
What's better, the smell of a fresh book or the smell of fresh Magic cards?
Oh goddamn, that's a good one. How about this? I get it right in the middle. The smell of a fresh Dungeons and Dragons book.
There it is. The merger.
That new DM's guy. Yeah, so I just had so much fun. Met some new friends. A bunch of my friends came and we hung out and did that, and so it was a lot. It's I just love the competitiveness of Magic while still not feeling like you're so invested in a 3-hour game, and if you or your opponent has a shitty time, like it just feels terrible. You don't have that in Magic. You're like, if you kick someone's ass, you get your ass kicked. Just like, well, that was 10-15 minutes and I get to move on with my life. And
yeah.
And because there's so many micro decisions, just like there is in like Age of Sigmar and 40K, there's a ton of micro decisions, but because they're condensed in a small play time, using your VCR in your head to rewind and replay, it's a lot more. I feel like I can grasp those pain points where I screwed up, where my decision points could have been different, and then looking 2, 3, 4 turns in advance, how those decisions would have affected things. It seems like I can absorb that a lot more than taking basically the same amount of micro decisions, but spreading them out over 3 to 4 hours. something about that time, I just like my brain loses some of that. And
Definitely.
You think of the big massive points in a game of Age of Sigmar that really felt like they fucked it all up for you. But in actuality, it's like, that was more or less like 2 decisions leading up to that put you in that position where that decision felt like it was the thing. But either way, I think Magic's for winners. So
It is, and you're a winner, very much so.
that's why I love
Measured.
Magic. I fucking win, and
Because I win.
yeah. Well, also unlike a game like Age of Sigmar, dude, I was playing Magic when I was 11 or 12 years old, on and off for most of my life. So it's like it's a riding a bike thing. Getting back on it is not me relearning anything. It's just reacclimating to what's new, what's tweaked, and then building those layers on it. It feels really good. It's so hard to get that many repetitions in a game like Age of Sigmar.
Yes, it is. Really any miniature war game.
You're right. It's just because it's not about how long the game takes. It's how many full games do you play.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and there's so much to remember
know.
at every phase in a particular game. Whenever I play a Song of Ice and Fire, I go for a while without playing it. There are things that I have to like remember about each part of the game, and I'll often forget some things and then make mistakes that I wouldn't have made if I was playing the game regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my local area, we're starting up sometime in the spring. We're starting up an EOS Escalation League.
Very
I'm gonna
cool.
start that.
Little STDs.
Yeah, we're gonna bring out the STDs, and then we're gonna also. I keep getting poked by a buddy that was actually competed at LVO in the Warhammer 40K tournament, that he's starting up a slow grow league for 40K, and he's bugging me to do that too. And I'm like, well, I'm going to help him with some of the painting stuff, because they're in like a painting component and then prizes for that. So I'm going to donate a bunch of cool painting stuff to him for prizes. And it's not how good you paint. It's like checking the box of did you paint each month or whatever. And so everyone that accumulates so many points can win painting prizes. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I got extra paints.
Yes.
And I might have extra paints. I might have more wet palettes. I might have some cool stuff that they might like. So, but I don't think I can commit to playing.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar and 40K and Escalation campaign, that would be very challenging.
Yeah, I know. And plus around that point, probably Diablo 4 is coming out, so that's going to be fuck the world. We're going D4 hard.
You do. So I'm feeling D4 too, but that's for reasons that we'll discuss during our main topic. Because I spoke with a Blizzard developer at LVO.
You didn't fucking tell me there was a Blizz developer there?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was just chatting with him. His name was Tesh. He was really nice.
Dude, Blizz dev?
Blizz dev.
Dude, I want to do some Blizz videos about painting the goddamn Diablo.
There you go.
El Diablo.
There you go. There's probably a sick STL for it too.
There's gotta be. Yeah, it's not gonna be. It's not called Diablo though. It's called like.
No, it's called
Big Bad Evil Demon.
Yeah. Fiery Demon. Yeah.
Russia. That's the name of the file.
Yeah, that's the name of the STL. They just put the fucking country of origin in it.
Just so y'all are made very clear, you can't strike none of this shit down.
We're just going to change the name, come back.
Yep.
Twice as strong. All right, my Preamble Ramble. I'm still working on that video where I'm trying to find board games with the best miniatures. Yesterday I played 2 games, Oathsworn and Aeon's Trespass. Both games are like campaign-style games.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I'm getting a little just like, I don't need more of these games. Like,
I just thought you said a little jizz.
Just get a little jizzed, you know? No, the opposite. I'm getting a little anti-jizzed. I don't know. I just feel like I'm going to play 2 of these games in my life. And like there's just like a bazillion of them to pick from. And they're all kind of the same, but kind of different. So Oathsworn has an interesting combat mechanic out of the gates. Like it's cool and it's fun. When we played Kingdom Death, I remember like us fighting that lion and everyone's like naked and just kind of beating at it with fists. And then we're kind of like just around it, just kind of rolling the same 2 dice. And it's like, I got a 4 this time and I didn't get it last time. So I did damage this time. You know, that's kind of what it felt like. And obviously the complexity increases over time as you get gear, as the encounters change and become more complicated.
New abilities, fighting arts, bro.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
damn. And then your
armor.
Your fucking all-star dual wielding fighting arts double guitar lady just gets her fucking head ripped off and you're like, rip Brenda.
Brenda's down for the count, dude. So yeah, like I appreciate that about Oathsworn is that I didn't need to accumulate anything for the combat to be interesting right away.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm most interested in. That's what I call the game of the game. You know, not the village phase, not the exploration phase, not whatever the upkeep is. That's the part where I want to play. But both these games are basically D&D in a box, right? They're the DM is AI of the game, essentially. So they all have these app-assisted things where you can like have the app read out the story. You pick a choice in the decision tree, and it changes the course of your whole campaign in a way.
Do you not love the fucking voices of the people that do the read aloud thing?
Yeah, dude, it's good.
Like, as you wander across the rocky river, you decide to ford. Unfortunately, there are 7 goblins on the other shore.
Exactly that. Yeah, some crusty motherfucker from Game of Thrones or something like that. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, Oathsworn was cooler for me personally. In Aeon Trespass, there's so much going on outside of like the boss fights. But yeah, so they drop you right into a boss fight in this learn to play scenario, and then after that, there's like all kinds of stuff you're doing. But basically, the premise of Aeon, that one's most similar to KDM, but the theme is Greek. All the gods are dead. They've been replaced by these primordial evil things that killed them. And you are an Argonaut, and you get inside this green amniotic fluid and pilot a 30 to 50 foot tall Titan that then tries to combat these primordial monsters.
Wow,
so it's basically Greek Pacific Rim. Right. That's kind of what it is.
Dude, you're just in the baby batter of
exactly
of the fucking ship.
Yeah.
Dude, and then you got to get to the gardening phase of the game.
Absolutely, there's a gardening phase.
Yeah, man. Oh man, someone's got to take out the trash every week.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh gosh, look at these primordials. Look, what they don't like is technology, so we have to develop our own technology.
And that happens in the game. There is tech developing. It reminded me a lot of a real-time strategy game like Warcraft or like, Command and Conquer or Age of Empires. There was technology you could advance. There was gear you could buy, but you needed to tech certain things before you could buy certain things, like in an RTS.
You got to upgrade that barracks, man.
But yeah, and there were relationships with like other like people in the game that you could develop. Like there was 3 different races. There was a race of people that worshipped the Bull of Minos in the labyrinth and all that shit. And so there was like, and you could like become their friend, and they would give you certain benefits. And there was like 3 campaign books that came with the base game, and they were all like 150 pages long. It's just like, wow, you could play this game for a year, dude, and not experience everything.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Did you suck upon the Minotaur's horn?
I did. I had a little sup. It was good. So I played that. Those games were fun. I liked Oathsworn more. And then I also played AOS, my escalation campaign. We're at 1,000 points now.
Ooh.
On my double necro list, which is good for Galatian champions, but they're not super combat-y, but it's still nice to have infantry characters in your list now with this current season of AOS. And my vile and terrible reign has come to an end, unfortunately. I have lost. I'm now 5-1.
One?
God damn, I lost to Magakin and Nurgle with my Soul Black Gravelord. They're tanky motherfuckers.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you got to hit them with the mortal wounds, or they're what's called the term DPS check, right? From maybe you don't know that.
No, I actually don't know this term.
It comes from MMOs, where there are certain end game bosses in MMOs that are straight up DPS checks. So for your guild to go further, you need to be able to have your people be skilled enough and have enough high end gear to be able to beat this boss. And it's simply can you burn them down fast enough? That's a DPS check.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So I use that term, but in terms of DPS check, that term is used in Age of Sigmar. Maybe just Vince V and Tom Morello say that, but
Tom Morello.
Yeah,
Vince V is playing AOS with Tom Morello.
Yeah, that's his co-host.
Okay.
Tom Morello.
Sick.
But it's a mortal wound check instead of DPS check.
Sure.
It's like, can your army pump out the mortal wounds, and if not, can you play cagey enough? And yeah, it's one of those things where I'm sure you realize, having played that army once, you would have gone against it an entirely different way. It's like the learning curve of the value of knowing what your opponent does well, what his army is really good at, what they're weak at, and exploiting what they're weak at, and not fucking walking into a haymaker what they're good at.
Yeah, and I kind of did that exactly. Because like last time I played John Schaefer was at 500 points, and his list was pretty different at that point. He had a Beast of Nurgle, and I knew what those did. And I dispatched them. I killed both of his Beast of Nurgle pretty easily. But what I wasn't ready for was the new Galatian champions and Swarm Bodyguard rules and Blight Kings. I had never faced Blight Kings before, and he had a I don't know if it was a command trait or something, but anyone within 6 inches, not wholly within, of his commander could not issue or receive commands. So this was kind of it was insult to injury for my poor Blood Knight unit that was kind of just stuck in this like combat that they did not belong in, which was my fault entirely. So it's just a slow and painful rusty death.
Yeah, you got all the tetanus.
Yeah.
But you feel after that better or worse about the game of Age of Sigmar as a whole?
Better for sure. It was a great game. It was a great game.
Cool.
I mean, I was the one that benefited from the double turn rule. It wasn't like a huge opportunity for me because he's a very hard egg to crack.
Yeah.
And so I killed the Beast of Nurgle in my first turn, not with a double turn, just my first activations in my turn. And then the second turn, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll charge into this massive Blight Kings and characters. And I was like, nope, that was the wrong choice to make.
You almost feel obligated
to do something
with
I know
double
you're
turn.
Right, actually you're totally right.
Yeah, also there's nothing that says you have to take it. If you win the roll, you choose. You should have not taken it.
I probably should have not taken it,
and then set yourself up for later when you would get more value out of it.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm 5-1 now. Sag, that's okay though. Got game 2 at 1250. Sorry, no, game 1 of 1250 against Stormcast Eternals. That's my next game. So I'm ready to make a new list that's fitted for this new season. And we're doing full beans Age of Sigmar now. So it's
all the beans.
It's the battle tactics. It's the grand strategies. It's the what's the ones that's like Vanguard and what are those things
Battalions?
called? Battalions. So we're using all the Age of Sigmar rules now.
You're getting a drink of water from a fire hose there with all that shit.
yeah, there's a lot going on.
That's too much, I feel, but
yes, I think the tactics are nice. I think the faction specific ones are a little bad, just because some of them are great, some of them are terrible. So it's kind of just another thing for GW to fuck up with balancing.
Yeah, and it's haves and have-nots. Which armies have their own unique ones, and which ones don't. So if yours doesn't, you simply have less options, and by and large, the ones they have for those armies are tailored for the things those armies already want to do. Yeah. And so if you don't have those options, it's a feels bad man kind of moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. We'll quit getting fucking knee deep into Age of Sigmar here. Speaking of which, I gotta go. When I go to the source today, I need to pick up that new General's Handbook bookity book.
Go for it. Yeah, I got mine. Dan just put it on hold for me. The source called me while I was on vacation in Hawaii, and they're like, "There's a book on hold for you." And I was like, "I made no such hold." So then I went in, and it was Dan put the new season book on for me.
Don't you love that it's the spiral bound?
That's very nice.
You can fucking turn it all the way around.
That's very nice. Yeah.
It's such a small thing, but it's so well. The size of it too is on this giant fucking book.
Yeah. I mean, you need 80 books per the goddamn game anyway. So. Any surface area that I can save is valuable.
We gonna talk about what we painted there, Scooty Booty.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna show you because it's already up on my phone right now because it's not here because it is in the mail right now. I painted Archon the Cruel, which is a Dungeons and Dragons character developed by Joe Manganiello, and
you got the name right in the video.
I didn't call him Mark Manganiello any times. 0 times did I say that.
Okay, good.
I said a lot of other things wrong, but not that. So it's in the 90 millimeter model. It's fucking huge. It's the size of the.
Give us a.
He's probably...
Jesus fucking Christ, he's a goddamn action figure.
Yeah, he is. He's bigger than a Ninja Turtle from the 90s.
Ninja Turtle for scale. Okay, cool.
And the thing is I actually wanted that shot from a B-roll, but I didn't have a nice time for me to drive out to my parents and like bring back some He-Mans and some Ninja Turtles from my parents' basement I still have all my toys from when I was a kid.
Yes.
I wanted that. That's so bad. I'm like, that's such a fucking cool shot. But it's like a 5-second shot in a laugh, and then it's over. And it's like, well, it's a 25-minute drive each way. I got to get this video done in 4 days for all the editing. When am I going to do that? So it just didn't happen, which I'm bummed.
Yeah.
So moral of the story is keep a Ninja Turtle in your own house somewhere. And you'll never know when you're going to need it.
Maybe a set of Legos, maybe one of those Star Wars action figures.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I still have my fucking Darth Maul one in the fucking box.
Nice.
And I have some the football action figures. You remember when they made those?
No, I've never seen these.
Yeah, what's the name of that fucking company? I don't remember.
Hasbro.
But anyway, they had baseball, they had basketball, they had football. I have an old Brett Favre one. Brett Favre. Yeah, and I also have when he did it for a short number of years, Todd McFarlane, like the Todd McFarlane action figures. They did football ones too. And I got a Brett Favre one of that as well, and those are all still in their package. They're probably worth like $6 now. So,
yeah, I thought you were gonna say a value way higher.
I don't know.
They're probably worth $6.
I look them up on eBay. Anyway, so yeah, it was. I had no game plan going into how the fuck I was going to paint this thing. And I painted it.
It's kind of like last minute for you, right? Because you were like back from LVO, kind of stressed out. You're like, God damn, I got to paint this model now. And then you kind of fucking banged it out. Like a G.
So I was expecting it to get in the mail to me a couple days before we left for LVO. So I could get a couple days head start and then come back from LVO and finish the painting in the rest of the week and then have a week to do the video editing and everything. But not only did it not arrive the week before, it arrived on Wednesday the week after. So I painted that thing in about 6 hours day one, in about 2 hours day two, 8 hours. Between 8 and 10 hours of painting to paint that thing.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
It was only because I painted atmospherically, right? And I had all this stuff with
kind of, but also not really.
I primed it black, and then I did like 4 or 5 different inks. Obviously, inks by and large are transparent to give a bunch of weird ambient lighting coming, and then did a strong like orange, like a warm light coming from over his right shoulder, and then built up with like a teal blue with a little bit of white ink in it, so it had more opacity coming from around that glow around his hand and wrist. So I'm like, I got my 2 light sources, right? And I got my main light source and then my secondary light source, and everything was bouncing off of those. And so I could really just focus on actually doing brush painting on the things that were going to catch light. So a large majority of the model has very little extra paint on it, but you almost kind of don't see that because you're drawn to a couple of areas.
Yeah.
And trying to make those kind of basically put my time in where it was going to be most valuable.
Yeah, where's the back of the model, John? I don't see that picture.
I think I have one somewhere. It's mostly pink underglow. I mean, it's not. I'm like, but it's also a statue. It's a piece where I don't even know if I did take a picture of it. In the video, if you watch the video, you'll see in the 360, you'll see the back of it. But yeah, so that's what I painted. And then I also finished up, while I was waiting for that mini to arrive after we got back from LVO, I put in more time to finish my first skeleton for my diorama. I got 2 more skeletons to go, but after doing that one, I feel pretty much like I know what to expect, so I can kind of knock those out, although it's still a lot of time in making things clean and strong hard lines. And I had a lot more, I don't want to say struggles, but a lot more unsure feelings about this compared to doing the zombies, because so much of the skeletons are little, like just tiny little surfaces, and then metals in doing that in true metallics.
So you've made the choice.
Yeah. So I'm doing true metallics, other than the screaming red armor of the vampire is going to be more of a non-metallic.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Yeah, because I think she doesn't shine with the true metallic red armor. I just don't think it works. And as opposed to like going up to that screaming bright the red by Chimera, he's like, that's going to be that color. Like, I want that to hit you in the face compared to the rest of the diorama.
Yeah.
And I think I need that more than just metallic red.
I think that you could even like paint the armor with a non-metallic metal red and then paint smaller details with TMM silvers and golds, and it would still like be like no one would bat an eye.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Because like people say you can't mix like NMM and TMM, like a gray NMM and a gray TMM, because it would just look a little off-putting. I don't know how true that is. I've never seen anyone really try it, but like when it's colored, it's like almost like your brain reads it as a different thing, and it's like better.
Yeah. A lot of the metallics there was a lot of kind of figuring out how to control the shine. So painting true metallics in a non-metallic way, trying to cut back a bunch of the shine, then reintroducing it in some really strong small pops. The shield was interesting. So we're going to talk about that in the after party, about dealing with the moonlight coming on the shield with the true metallics from the front light source. And I had some interesting situations I found myself in with that. So anyway, that's what I painted.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I wanted to mention that on your, is it Archon the Cruel? What's his name?
Yeah, Archon the Cruel.
I like the purple shadows and kind of like that, what, a military green armor, tan kind of armor plates. I like that. It reminded me a lot of Craft World Studio, that kind of more violet shadow.
Yeah, I punched up a lot of magenta in the lower shadows because it's so transparent, and I could like really kind of go hog wild with that, and it ended up on areas where I did more of a midnight blue first. It ended up coming out with this really nice kind of hazy purple color as they built on each other.
Yeah, I think it was nice. And then the other thing I wanted to ask was about the skeleton is, are you going to paint, is there another skeleton you have to paint?
Two more.
Are you going to paint their bone the same way, or like with the zombies, are you going to mix up what their bone color is?
I'm going to keep it all the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you're... Yeah, I think that's maybe a little bit too distracting if I change that. If there's everything is changey. I want, especially the last two skeletons are in the far back. He's right in front. So the vampire's flanked by one zombie and one skeleton kind of off center from each other, and he's in front because he's got the more action pose, like there's something right off screen in the front that they're about to engage. The other two in the back are more like just shambly. And I think because they're in the back, and they're kind of helping set being a part of almost like the backdrop, that I don't want them to be, I don't want you to be gravitating towards them too much, other than maybe the ones holding the banner for some freehand on the banner for whatever dynasty or whatever. I'm just gonna have to take something out of the book.
Yeah,
because it has to be with the lore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is fine. I'm all about not having to think.
yeah. You're doing enough thinking as is.
Yeah.
I did a little experiment with my stream. I don't typically like batch paint an entire unit from start to finish. And I wanted to try to do something like that with this unit. I know I started them when I was trying to paint like Vince for a week, but I didn't get very far, so I felt like it was okay to kind of show the whole process on stream.
Yeah. And
so I finished a unit of Silence Bennett, which is a 12-man unit for Song of Ice and Fire, my Greyjoy army. And one of those guys hoisting the axe is the one I painted initially. It was like that I kind of sat down and painted for like 2.5 hours to kind of figure out what colors I want to wear and what of them.
Yep.
And then the other two, one you're holding and this one right here, are the speed paint versions, the ones that I tried to paint in 45 minutes a model by making this more efficient with airbrushing and like clever color choices and things like that. And what I want to talk about in the Preamble Ramble is how I extended my ability to use the airbrush on these models by having shared shadow colors. So I'll talk about what that means in the Preamble Ramble. But I thought I got pretty close to my target paint job, and saving a lot of time though with some clever techniques that I kind of stole a little bit of them from my experiences with Soulblight Gravelords, painting skeletons, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying army painting right now, and like trying to like strive for that like perfect middle of not spending a lot of time, but it still looks pretty nice when you hold it in your hand, and looks even nicer in a unit.
And really the things about the one I can tell you spent more time on that really matter for that one are still here in the other ones.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the key thing, is what are the things that are taking an equal percentage of your time but don't give you enough reward for doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Like all the little tiny bullshit straps, putting an extra layer of highlight to more of a tan on all of them, and like I don't really even look at that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like on some of the other poses, like on that guy with the axe above his head, his belt is really well cast, or not well cast, but better than the rest. Their other guys, their belt is just so blobby and just
Yucks.
you can't even tell where the belt loop is sometimes, or whatever the clasp. So it's just like it's not fun to paint that part.
Yeah. I dig it. I think that's taking that from 2.5 hours to 45 minutes. That seems like there's very little drop off, and it's just that fiddly bit drop off.
Yeah. And then I got the bases all ready to go, so I'm just gonna pin them to their bases next stream, and they'll be done.
And just keep them away from the spooge, man.
Oh my God, Keith, for the love of God, don't spooge my models, please. All right, we're on to the main topic, which is a little decompression chat about LVO. What happened? We'll go over the con day by day.
What happened?
Like we did for Adepticon the prior years.
Yeah. So when we found out that our plane was arriving like late Thursday night.
Yeah, I left at 9:50 p.m. and arrived at what, like 11 something or 10 something with the time zone difference.
Yeah. And so we were both feeling pretty stressed about this whole thing leading up to it. Maybe that's where this conversation begins, because the Goody Peepees have not experienced that. Leading up to LVO, we were stressed to the max, both because we had all of the regular work that we had to do for our channels, and get the class all regulated and figured out, and we hadn't done it since pre-pandemic, and we had all the groundwork laid, luckily, but just
we would have been fucked if we hadn't done that prior work.
For sure. But just to refamiliarize, go back through the entire curriculum, made changes. We changed some stuff, things that we wanted to make sure that we spent more time on, things that we threw out or just touched on, reevaluated a bunch of different stuff. So the combination of that being like we hadn't done this lately, and making changes and not knowing what those changes were going to turn out like, plus never having been to this event before, never having been to LVO in any capacity before, so not understanding anything that we were getting into logistically. It was just a lot.
It's a lot.
And then knowing we were going to do TUP Live, also not knowing how that was going to go.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it was like not well defined, and like we're there the day of it's happening and trying to figure out details. Yeah.
So not well defined would probably be the lifeline that I would say ran through a lot of this stuff. And I don't like blame anyone in particular or say that anyone dropped the ball. It was just a lot of things we didn't know, and it's kind of are similar in a lot of ways. And one of those ways is we really don't like the uncertain, especially when we're kind of doing it live.
Yeah, when our fans' enjoyment is on the line, and like, you know, their experience is on the line, we want to make sure that everything is figured out, and that like nothing dumb is going to happen, or like something's going to be ruined, because we just didn't, you know, put in that little bit of extra prep work to like make sure all the details were hashed out, and we show up with the right stuff and all that stuff. So we just want to make sure that kind of our time isn't wasted, you know? It's like either we over-agreed to doing a certain amount of work, or we under-prepared and are just not able to do what we wanted to do in the first place at all, you know? Like that waste of time is like the biggest crime.
Yeah, one of the things that we both kept going back to was it's fine if the shit all hits the fan if we're the ones that take the brunt of it, and we're just like, well, I guess, you know, Scott and John are kind of screwed on this, or something doesn't go the way we had thought it was going to go, and we have to eat that. That's one thing. But the pressure of making the experience what we really wanted it to be for the students and for people that were going to come to TUP Live, like that was the thing that kind of made me all gurgle guts about the whole thing. So I was able to, actually my lovely wife was able to get a hold of Delta, get on the phone with Delta, and get my flight changed. So I went out at like 11 in the morning on Thursday instead of, you know, arriving at 11 at night. And it was mostly my own peace of mind that I could go check things out early. I could go check the room before everything is just a freaking hornet's nest and everyone needs something. I can find Seth and Kat and, get the lay of the land. If I needed to like find tables or chairs, or I needed to, figure out where the outlets were, I can, figure out how we were going to set up our big screen, where we're going to put the projector, what things we have access to, what things we don't have access to, just kind of mentally, wrap myself around it and understand the whole layout of the whole massive fucking casino, as well as its convention hall.
Dang,
all
dude.
That stuff. Like, at the end of the day, that Thursday, I did some stuff, but more to me, it was like I felt like at ease that I now know what we're getting into, and we can just focus on the students and all that. So that was good. And then you showed up that night. There were stories about what happened to me in that first day before Scott got there. And if you haven't listened to the last episode, you can hear about those stories as I retold them at Vegas. But
yeah, we had done some prior work to prepare for this event because we meet up to do the podcast, and so we did a little meeting to figure out, okay, what do we need to do to prep for the event so that like we're not like surprised. And so one of those things was we had to print booklets with the laminated booklets for our students so they can use them as a quick reference guide while painting the Duchess. So in case like they need to go back to a section or see a brief description of like glazing, for instance, they can do that without needing to like interrupt the course of the class. And responsibly, I reached out to the people that we did it with last time, called Minutemen Press, to get the booklets like maybe 2.5 weeks in advance. And the guy responded to me once and then just stopped responding to me. And so I kept emailing him over and over and over again. And what was happening was Minutemen Press was going through a change of ownership right when I decided to ask this guy for fucking booklets.
No.
So what happened was we got in contact with the new owner. And like it was so fresh that he didn't have a till system set up. So he had to drive to another Minutemen Press location because he's buying this new one, call my wife, get her info over the phone to charge her using the till in a different store because the new one is super fresh. And so this guy was able to print 22 booklets for us exactly the day we had to leave. And that was the amount of laminate he had, which was fucking perfect because we had 22 students.
Woo!
Because if we had 24, it would have been no problem because I had a couple extra from last time, but they just weren't as nice as these new ones. So that was stressful. Like Amber was really freaking out, and I was like, it is what it is. Like we tried our best, and we got stuck in a shitty scenario. If that's the case, we can just mail the booklets to students, But she was stressing out, and that's making me stress out a little bit. And then I underestimated how long it would take me to put together all those goddamn models. And we already kind of talked about this at the LVO episodes. I won't rehash it, but a lot of work to do the day of. Left really late for the plane. While I was on the plane, I was having thoughts like, oh man, like there's a super fragile light bulb in the projector. What if that just shatters on the airplane right now? I'm just fucked.
Right.
We're just fucked. That's a major component of our class. That is an Achilles heel. That if it's broken, game over. Like game over for that large chunk of our class, that large value add. And so I had a lot of thoughts like that while I was flying over. It's kind of like me, like, oh God, oh fuck no, oh not that, please don't happen. And luckily nothing critical happened, really.
Yeah, we forgot one cord.
One cord that was going to be our light, and then we got a bunch of hobby lights from the organization at LVO.
Yeah.
But you kind of freaked me out because you were like, I don't know if they have anything. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I think it was the fact of they were not supplying lights for every student for every class.
Yeah,
but
which happens at some setups.
Yeah, which is, as long as we know ahead of time, and students by and large, they didn't seem to balk at that. It kind of stinks if you have a bigger light at home. How are you going to bring it if you're flying? But
yeah.
A fair number of the students actually were within driving distance, so that was nice too. And then some brought extra stuff and all that, and that was really cool. But they had enough, kind of like emergency painting lights, and they fucking hooked us up. So.
They did. Yeah, that was super cool. But I was like prepared to have Amber next day ship us that cable through FedEx just so we could have it for at least day 2, but ended up not needing it, so that was great.
Yeah. And I was like, when I was packing, because I was trying not to take a carry-on, because I'm like, I know you were taking a carry-on, and you got, or not a carry-on, a check bag.
Check bag. 2 check bags.
Check bag, because you had to check the freaking the screen, which was a good thing that I got there earlier to verify that they did not have white walls.
Yeah, it was like light colored walls.
And they were not light colored.
They weren't light colored, but also I had made it very clear that I was needing a projector screen. And not only were they not light, but they also were not flat. They were like, there was tons of fucking detail all over them.
Yeah. So, but it stinks, but it worked out. And the screen was big and it was clear and everything was okay.
Yeah.
So.
The one small problem with the screen that I didn't anticipate was that it has an exhaust for the heat that it generates. And since it's low to the ground, it's right next to one of our students. And so just blasting this poor guy with heat the entire class. And so I found a piece of trash so I could shroud the heat so it would blast it forward and not just like onto this guy's poor back.
He's just sweating.
I know.
It's a sweat lodge for the next 2 days.
Just things you would never think of, right? Until they happen. So now I know for next time.
Yeah. But once, the thing is like all this stuff leading up to it, all this stress and uncertainty, whatever, like, once the class kicked off and we began, it kind of all melted away, right? There were still other uncertainties, mostly around that first day about what the hell was going on with Tub.
Yeah.
But that felt really good, really quickly. Of like, oh my gosh, like this is doable. And then the students were amazing. It quickly was just about them and us having fun and us doing our best to help them in any way possible. And I will stand behind the fact that having two teachers, so you always have somebody, there's always multiple students at any given time that need some help on something.
And they don't ask for it.
No.
You gotta get in there and be like, ask me your question that I know you have that you're not asking right now.
Yep.
And then they always have fucking questions. They always do.
Yep. And then typically once you'd get through that, like you'd have the students make them ask you a question or talk to them about something and then ask them a question. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, within about the first, 4 or 5 hours of the class, it was like the understanding, the expectations, the environment that we're in, that this is what is not only okay, this is what we want for you to get the best experience. Then it started to change. And they're more open and more more questions and more deep things. And I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
Fucking big brain on Brad.
Yeah. We had circle tables for this class, which you noted was actually really interesting because the people at the tables like developed a camaraderie, right? And so like because they were facing each other, they could see each other for the entire class. And they weren't just all facing forward toward our projector screen. They were having conversations. They were forming bonds. And so they would ask questions about painting. But also, like when I went to a table, we had 3 larger circle tables. When I went to a table and answered one person's question, everyone wanted, answers then. And so then it was kind of like that nice kind of feedback loop for all of them because they could all hear what I was saying because they're all faced in the same direction, basically where I was. So it was interesting. We both enjoyed the circle tables more than we thought we would.
Yeah, it was wild as when Thursday when I got there and Seth first got me into the room, unlocked the room to let me in. He's like, we ran out of rectangular tables, so you have circle tables. And I was like, so in my brain, it was a negative that we needed to overcome.
Right, because he ran out, right?
Yeah. So it was the way it was approached. So, Seth, if you're listening to this, you'd be like, next time, you'd be like, you guys are lucky. You're the only ones that get the circle tables. And it was awesome.
We weren't the only one. Whenever I popped my head into a room, they were rocking the circle tables.
Like all the, like...
Bill Hahn had circle tables?
Oh, well, like I know Andy's, Caleb's...
Oh, I didn't see that.
Ben and Matt's, Ricardo.
See, I thought... Okay, so
all those, they were in the U shape.
Was that what it was?
Rectangles all in a U shape with the teacher at the one point.
Okay.
In the center. But
U-shape
either way,
is not bad either, maybe.
Right. Yeah. It would be tougher with ours because we had so many students
to
do that, but to still keep them close enough. But anyway, exactly. It didn't take long before I realized how much of a value this was. Our worry is that there are people that were where they were sitting to look at the screen. Their backs would be to the screen based on the nature of circles. But
math.
Right. But then they just kind of sat sideways and looked, and we would go back and forth a lot. And it seemed to work just great. And yeah, it was wild. When I look back at it, one of the things that I think I was most happy with was, it wasn't even anything we did. Maybe we did it by creating an environment of it, but that they really like they became their own community, right? And like every student was be able to look up and you look around and see the eyes of every other student. Your back was to nobody at your table. And conversations and questions and having someone give advice or give them their feedback in the moment. I just painted this face. I just did the first highlight. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's the kind of things you really can only get when you're sitting at a paint jam, sitting with people with a shared goal of painting miniatures, especially when you're painting the exact same miniature, the exact same part of that miniature at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And having multiple communication styles, multiple layers of experience, multiple perspectives throughout this. So you got not only my vision of something and Scott's vision, which were different.
Mm-hmm.
You got your partners, you got the people on your team to also give you that feedback. And then just the fun conversations that were happening. People talked about where they were from and how long they were painting and what games did they play. And
how they were allergic to penicillin.
Dude, fucking everybody in our class is allergic to penicillin.
4 fucking people.
4 out of 22 allergic to penicillin.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And of the 24 people in that room, because I count us, there were 2 type 1 diabetics that had the little fucking robot, the robot pancreas. I'm one, but there was another one.
Yeah.
Apparently, just fucking sick people watch our shit.
Apparently.
Dude, yeah.
They flock to us, the sick. I don't fucking know what I'm saying right now.
Yeah. But no, that was the kind of random shit that would come up that was just fun. And that started with, we had everyone tell them something weird about themselves.
Yeah, like, for some reason I started with seizures.
Yeah, well, you're the problem then.
Yeah, I
didn't talk about the diabetes.
No, yeah. They were like, share an interesting fact about you. And I was like, as a child, I had epilepsy. And everyone was like, oh.
It's kind of fucking grim. We're 10 minutes into this class. Let's talk about our impending doom. But yeah, that was it. We kick them off with we wanted to know who they were and a weird thing about them, because that was like immediately. It was like everyone's like, oh, this is going to be fun. And the whole thing was fun. And doing the trivia and making it a competition, and each table was a team. We had some fun trivia questions. I was like struggling to come up with enough miniature painting ones. Like, I felt like I really probably wasn't trying that hard. I could have come up with more miniature painting ones. So I had other questions about like Jurassic Park
and chicken tenders.
And The Office, and Tom Hanks, and it's like, oh yeah, you all think this is just gonna be about miniature painting, and then their brain is all like, they're sitting around the table ready to buzz in if another team gets it wrong or whatever, and then the question comes off, and they're like, fucking what?
Yeah. Ain't no one gonna know this.
We had there was certain kinds of questions. It was kind of question. I know that there's probably a term for it, but it's like a betting question. So what I do is I would ask a question like, my team can name X number of chapters of Space Marines, right? And so we'd start with the team and they say, we can name 6. And then we go around to the other teams. So we can name 7, we can name 8, whatever. And so it's that fine line of, if you bet and you say the most and everyone else is like, no, I can't name more than that. You get double points if you get it right, but you lose points if you get it wrong. So it was this fine line. And that short. Motherfucker got 34?
31 and 34. It was something over 30 Space Marine fucking chapters.
Yeah. So their team bid up and bid up and bid up. And they were this one dude.
Oh, this one dude was sweating bullets, dude. He was like, at 30. He was like at like the last one, and he was like, we were giving him 10 seconds because he was kind of taking a long time toward the end, and I obviously don't want to give him forever to think about it because it kind of feels a little cheap. And so I was like counting down 10 seconds, and he was sweating it, but man, he got it. It was incredible.
He put that team on his back because that was
it.
Dude, nobody else, after they were all like Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Raven Guard, and then when they got to about 6, it was all on him.
Yeah, dude.
And he named chapters I didn't even heard of before. They could have been making up. He could have been making up shit right there, and I wasn't going to be knowing. But there was enough other like Space Marine fucking homeboys in there that they were calling him on it.
Oh yeah, they were on him.
Yeah, they're like, well, technically, Astartes chapters, those don't count or whatever.
Yeah.
Caught him on a couple things. He still got there.
Yeah. We had another question about like naming paint brands, and the one guy who answered, I think it was Ira, he just crushed it. There was no hesitation. He like I think he like said he could list like 15 or 16. He just did it like instantly.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah, that's a man after my own heart. Just loves to sell some paint brands. Loves it. Yeah, but that was, I mean, having taken a painting class, especially one that is 2 days or even 1 day, when you're talking about 8 hours, 2 days of 8 hours, 1 day of 8 hours alone is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, it's taxing. First, it's physically taxing because almost none of us on a regular basis, let alone irregular basis, paint that long in a day.
Yeah.
And it's, it's physically taxing. It's also kind of like mentally draining.
It is.
So for us to chop things up with get up, stand up, move, stretch, go find a snack, do something, let's have some fun and get your brain on something else and do some silly questions and all that kind of thing. I think that's really important. And it brought people from their energy just sapping for the last 2 hours of each day. And I didn't feel that overall. I felt like by and large, people were still like going strong and not mentally checked out.
Yeah. I think the only kind of mental checkout came from us clearly not clearly, but like rushing through the end. It's like, oh, there isn't enough time to do what was planned. We're going to have to, take some evasive maneuvers here. And so when that happens for me as a student, I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on what I can focus on, but I can't like rush through these things and like really absorb anything. So I think we got some great feedback for the class. And I think one thing that I want to change, just because I also felt it as well, is that we're just trying to teach too much. Yeah. I think while TMM is a great topic that I want to teach and that I'm excited about right now, I don't think the Duchess is the right model for it. I think it's very finicky, the armor she has, and it's just also, I'm always like concerned that like if you can't very clearly demonstrate something, it just doesn't translate like at all. And so it's like hard to paint that small gauntlet with all its ridges and all of its like batwing motifs and stuff like that and have it like be understood by someone who has no idea what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was very fiddly.
Fiddly.
I would like a nice unencumbered singular bracer.
Exactly. With no bullshit in that middle part. Yeah, that would be quality.
Yep. And I think you could take that away. Yeah, I think it's really interesting because certain aspects of that class that we leaned into, the model worked really well for. Really well for learning how to blend over large or smooth surfaces, how to take advantage of what wet blending can do for you from a starting point, from what layering can do to give you precision, what glazing can do to give you a great final finish. Mm-hmm. The cloth was great. Even showing how to do, painting black and painting white are not easy. Showing that. And then the face, like doing skin tones, doing faces, like that model
got to change with the face. I feel like because I was painting for like 6 hours straight or 5 hours straight, and I feel like that took too long. I was going around nonstop, and I felt like a lot of people hit a lot of breakthroughs, and a lot of people, the things that I pushed people on, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times, was where they felt they were leaving their comfort level and then feeling like you have the support. I'm here to help you. We're all going to do this together. We're going to go brighter. We're going to go further. We're going to get out of the comfort zone. And then see what that difference is from where you felt good to what it ended up as. The face was the biggest portion of that to really push through boundaries. And I'm glad I did not feel like it was that long. And I don't think the students did either. That it was, sometimes you need to really just dig in and do it in a sitting to realize, oh, this should take me longer. There are more steps to this if I want to do them. Or how can I take what I've learned here and condense it into a 3 or 4 version step? Yeah.
To knock out more stuff faster.
Yeah.
So
I think working on one half of the face helped me to really focus and show the students that this is what it could look like on the entire face if you had twice as much time.
Yeah. And I think that showed really well because I recall when you showed that on screen, there was a lot of students in the class that were like, what?
Yeah. Wow. I was trying to show it on the camera, but obviously you can't paint and watch the entire process at the same, at once. And it's like it's a lot of very tiny little fiddly blends you're doing, right? Like you're just kind of like making micro adjustments. I wish that my painting style was was magical and clear and obvious, but it really is just like tons of small brushstrokes over time combined together to make a final result. So it's kind of like it's not hard to demonstrate, or it's not easy to demonstrate very simply.
Yeah, it's certainly less sexy than
Ben Comitz.
Ben Comitz doing a loaded brush.
Yeah, it's definitely less sexy.
Starting right under the lid, and then it's just like shoosh in one whippy woppy motion.
Yeah,
like it's done all that. However, I will say this, that I know Ben didn't start that way, and none of us do. And I think you have to understand what you're going for and what the steps are to get there, to then understand how you can do that, achieve that in less brushstrokes. But you first need to do it in 50 brushstrokes to then understand how you can achieve the same result in 25 brushstrokes.
Okay.
So I think you first got to walk, and then you can ride a bike.
For sure. That's definitely, yeah, that's definitely true. I think one other thing is that one of the students informed me that the class was targeted at beginners to advanced painters, which is just way. That's not what I wrote originally in my class description. So I don't know where the breakdown of communication happened.
Oh no.
But yeah, we're shooting for definitely intermediate to advanced, not beginners.
It's just fucking the shotgun approach.
Yeah.
Just fucking shoot it across the bow.
Yeah, we'll take them all. Yep. Everyone's gonna have a good time. Let's go.
But you know what? There was one or two students in there that kind of self-diagnosed as beginner, and we could identify that early on.
Yeah.
And goddamn, I think they made the most steps, the most progress.
Yeah, I think one thing I really was a great test as to whether or not the class was valuable is I had like maybe 5 people tell me they had what they call light bulb moments, and I was just like, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like you had a breakthrough in a thought process, and now it's going to shape the way you paint for the rest of your hobby. Like that's what it is for me, at least when I experienced that. And that's always been like a huge moment for me in a hobby, or like like a small moment, but it's still like very impactful. And so like if we could do that for 5 people in our class, like that's amazing. That's a good test that we're doing a good job, I think.
Yeah. I mean, or it was probably all 22, and they were just too,
that's what it
too
was.
shy.
That's what it was. Yeah.
The introverts, and they're like, oh gosh, my life's changed forever now.
I don't want to tell anybody though.
Dude, fucking Travis came in with some fireball shots. We were doing fireball.
That guy had a cooler, and he brought a crispy cold Dr. Pepper in a can for me because of the episode we're talking about. What would you put on your rider as a rock star mini painter? So that was awesome.
DP.
That was awesome.
Yeah, DP. Yeah, and I drank some beers. Yeah, I had some.
At day 2, you were letting it rip.
Fireball, dude. I was like so happy to be done with Tup Live.
You're like painting that metallic silver gauntlet, and you're like 3 fireball, like little baby shots deep in like a Miller Lite or whatever. And I was like, dude, how's he doing this?
Dude, it's practice. Practice. Yeah, dude, that's you just gotta throw away the inhibitions before you go cross-eyed.
All right, Natasha Bedingfield, relax.
Yeah. You just before you go cross-eyed, that's just it. You gotta ride that line, right? If you don't get right in there, you can't shoot down that Death Star. You're gonna be fucking red leader, man. But yeah, that was great. Just so many characters in our class. And we had a lot of really nice emails after we'd gotten back home from students. And to me, it's important that they feel the value and it's worthwhile to actually level up in some regards, or get a little bit more confidence, or feel like they have support on their mini journey. But it's also like, if it's not memorable for also being fun, I feel like I haven't done the best that I could do. And so it's really important to me that if people are in a good headspace and they're laughing, or they're smiling, or they're in a good mood, that the ability to learn and absorb and take more out of it is just that much greater.
Yeah.
You could be the most intelligent, best teacher in the world, and we've all had these, whether in high school or college or something. But if it doesn't foster a positive learning environment, like, your brain just is not ready to soak that stuff up. So
yeah.
And if we're not there and having fun, why the fuck are we teaching it? Like,
We didn't want to be there.
yeah, right? We had enough stress, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
What if we had all that stress and we were just like so goddamn serious and be like, you need to understand all of the light sources. If you don't get them right, then you fucked it all.
We just turned into strong bad when teaching this class.
It's a cheat.
The cheat.
Yeah, okay, so that's kind of all encompassing.
Those are all my thoughts. Yeah, about the
class. So
Yeah.
well, let's dig into TUP Live. So
day one of our class finishes, and so it was 10 to 6, and TUP Live is at 9.
yeah,
And that one would assume 3 hours. That's plenty of time.
it was not.
It was not plenty of time. So we get out at maybe like 6:30 because we had to pack up some stuff because we didn't know when the room was locking. So we brought some things like our laptops, our cameras, the projector back to our room to kind of protect them. And that fucking walk from our classroom to our room
goddamn long.
was so long.
So goddamn long.
And so like walking from there, kind of getting out at 6:30, walking to the room and then back. We were like, actually, you know what? We were walking around with the shit looking for Simon, who we'll call Vel for the rest of the episode. That was his nickname, apparently. All the LVO guys had nicknames. And so we're walking around with our backpacks and my projector and stuff. And John had a message from Vel saying, I'm sleeping in the green room. When you need me, come and get me.
Come wake me up.
Okay, and so we're walking around. We go into the big main room where the podcast is going to be. We find some people with yellow shirts on, people working for the LVO organization. And we're like, do you know where the green room is? And we asked, I swear to God, like 10 fucking people. And not one of them knew where the fucking green room was.
Right. No. And this, like, it wasn't until after the fact that I realized, for both the day before when I got there, trying to track down Val, and then also that evening we were trying to get to Val. He was our literal Valhalla that we were trying to achieve.
Is it Val or is it Vel?
Val, V-A-L.
All right. Okay, Val. Sorry.
That was the name of my grandpa. His name is Val.
Oh, cool.
Val Jean.
His full name is Val?
Yeah, Val Jean or Val Jean.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, that's weird. This is the only other person I've ever heard named Val, but this probably wasn't his given name. Maybe it was his middle name. Anyway.
His name was Simon.
Simon's a lot less cool. Let's go with Val.
Okay. We will.
This entire time, all afternoon Thursday, and then all evening Friday, we're asking for Simon, and no one knows who the fuck Simon is. It's so weird. It's like, and then at some point, like the guy, and I'm blanking on his name. We met so many goddamn people, and we're terrible with names to begin with, so I apologize. That he was the videographer, photographer guy for LVO. He knew where the green room was.
Yeah, so we met this, like, he was he's at the desk. He's at the registration desk, right? And so he took us to the green room. So we're still carrying all our shit. And we go into the green room, and there is no person in this room. So I'm like, okay, where the fuck is this guy? But there was a Henry Cavill mask with eye holes cut into it.
Yeah.
There was
Random treats.
There was like a prop, like a choppa from like the orc race in 40K, and yeah, there was a bunch of treats, Hawaiian treats. We were even offered some delicious Lilaha like flavored like snacks and stuff.
You like macadamia nuts?
Macadamia nuts, of course. Kona coffee, why not? It's basically like an airport like convenience store, just like in this place. Yeah.
And we talk about, okay, so this is the green room for the massive stage at the Rio for like where they had the massive concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was weird. It was surreal. Like this is where like celebrities go.
Yeah.
And it looked like something out of a goddamn movie where the whole one wall was just lined with, the whole wall was a mirror with like a tabletop against it with a bunch of chairs with all those old-timey like
vanity
big bulb
lights,
vanity lights all around them.
Yeah.
Like you're in the back of like a burlesque show or some shit.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of fucking 40K shit everywhere. Yeah. Just a bunch of nerd shit.
But also 40K shit, yeah. So that was wild. And then the fucking roadie from Metallica comes in.
So okay, we're sitting in this goddamn room. The guy who brought us there originally leaves to go get someone, and I assume he's going to get Val. And so the goddamn, I think his name was it Garrett? I can't remember his name.
Garrett.
Yeah, he shows up. He's like exactly like you describe him, like a roadie from Metallica. And I'm like, Val, like, nice to meet you. He's like, oh, I'm not Val. And I was like, when the fuck are we gonna meet this guy? And he's sleeping, and everyone's like really kind of like conscientious of that, trying not to wake him up. And like, so then eventually we made it clear to them that this guy wanted us to wake him up when we were done with our thing because we need to talk to him about an event that we're doing. And no one fucking knows what Tup is at this point that we've spoken to. No. So like the confidence levels are dropping rapidly. And so we're sitting there again. The roadie from Metallica eventually goes to get Val, and then he comes back, and this guy is tired as fuck, and you could tell.
We learned that all the AV crews, the guys that were making it all possible, all in the back behind the massive curtain where the big stage was, they had this whole fucking setup going. Again, something out of a movie where they're all doing all this shit. Like they're working nonstop all day, every day for the whole event.
And they have heavy gear back there. Yeah. Like to make that happen and make all those streams happen for all those games, they had some serious equipment. It was actually really cool to see all of it and see people like working on it.
So once Val comes in, because I had a video call with him leading up to the event where
it was really good.
That was really good, and I felt really confident, and like he understood, he watched Tup, like he knows us and all that kind of stuff. He walks in. He didn't even it was like he was still 3/4 asleep.
I think he was, yeah.
He did not understand words.
Yeah.
He did not remember anything we had talked about.
He was like, when I knew we were fucked, he was like, did someone tell, what was the other fucking nickname he was saying? The Tickler? No, that's my nickname. There was a guy he mentioned. He was like, did someone tell this guy about this happening? I was like, who the fuck is that guy?
I don't know.
I was like, does he have to know? Like, oh, it was like Fletcher or something like that.
Sure,
it was something like that. And I was just like, are we screwed right now? Like, is the stage like gonna be needed when we need it or something like that? I thought we were totally doomed when he was asking questions like that. I was like, well, no one knows who we are. We're fucked. This is game over.
Game over, man. And then it went from that to, okay, you guys go drop your shit off in your room, come back, and
it's like 7:30 at this point, right?
Yeah, come back at 8.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get everything set up and good to go.
Yeah.
A side note to this that plays into all of these stories was that not only was it at least a 1/4 mile walk from the convention hall to our hotel room. It felt even longer than that because we were on the far west side. Our tower of the hotel was the far west side of the entire building. You have to go to the far east side of the entire casino to then enter the entrance for the convention hall, from which you're only halfway there at that point. You still got to walk the rest of the way to get there. Anyway, so every trip we take, we're having conversations with people. People are stopping us or chatting or whatever.
Which is normal, right?
Which was amazing. But it turned any trek into
a 30-minute walk.
A 30-minute walk minimum. So we get back. We're like, we're finally get into the hotel room, set our stuff down.
It's like 8:10.
Sit down. It's after the time we were supposed to be back there.
Yeah.
So we turn around and do it.
And then I realized at this point that there is critical gear in the painting room that we need for our recording. And so there is no time to rest. We're late to get back anyways for our sound check and things like that. And we had to get back to the room, which is like a little bit further than the actual convention hall. And so I get in that room. Luckily, it isn't locked. And as I'm in it, the janitor is picking up the trash. And I'm like, are you guys going to lock the room? She's like, yeah, I'm doing it right now. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, there is a God. I got in there. I got the stuff. Went over there. It was like, what, 8:20, 8:15?
Yeah.
I'm not sure my timetables are adding up right now. But and we sat down, and then
Val and Garrett just
did a bunch of work.
Fucking rocked it out.
We didn't do anything. We just sat there, and they figured out all the problems for us.
All the cameras, all the everything. And it still did not go without a hitch. If you saw the end of last episode, there was a little snafu of things with sound from a stream still running through the feed.
Yeah.
So then there was just like a high level of like ambient music that was playing. But honestly, all things considered, how much this was a tornado of uncertainties
That's a great way to put it.
It turned out great. The crowd was great.
Yep.
I counted at one point. It didn't look like there was fucking anybody there because we're in this like fucking football stadium size goddamn room.
And each row is separated by a 6x4 like Warhammer table, row of Warhammer tables.
Yeah. At one point I counted 62 or 64 people in the middle of the episode, but like people were coming in, or that one thing that I wish in hindsight that and maybe they just needed to see that we were a real thing, was that we got more support for advertising or making aware to the people that were there that this was an event that anybody could go to.
Yeah, so like if you never heard of us and like you're like, oh, a hobby podcast, like what's the deal with this? Because like most podcasts are like gaming stuff, and so maybe that would interested some gamers and they would have showed up and we could have like grew our audience a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, it was great. The questions were great.
Great camera angles. We had an angle of the person asking the questions. We had an angle that showed the audience through John and I.
Yeah.
A couple comments on the episode actually not liking that shot because it made the crowd look artificial. It looked like a green screen.
Like a green screen.
And so that was kind of interesting hearing that.
Because I think it was due with how the focus was set up. Because it was focused on them, so we were kind of looked like it was like a Mystery Science Theater where there was an outline of us and they were all clear.
Yeah, and they were well lit and we were well lit, so it wasn't like either one of us was dark. It was like we were both, and that makes it even look a little bit even more artificial because normally that doesn't happen. Normally the background is overexposed or it's too dark, but that was not the case.
But we were both lit, but it looked like we were lit by different sources too.
Because
we were.
Yeah.
So it makes it feel like, well, the lighting on what I see in the front here doesn't match with the lighting in the back, so it makes it even look more like a green screen.
Yep.
That said, that shot wasn't used a ton.
No, it wasn't that much.
But I thought that fucking when they showed us that was the shot that they had, I was like, this is fucking amazing.
It was cool. Yeah. There were so many cameras. There was so much gear. If I had any time, I would have just loved to like just sit down and talk to those guys behind stage and just talk about like what they're using for their live stream equipment, because that's such a fun and exciting like thing for me at the moment. Is like it's a new challenge, live production. And so I'm curious what like the pros use.
Yeah. I at one point, and I know I realized it in myself after you mentioned it, where a good buddy Travis then brings us up some hard Mountain Dews and some more Fireballs, and I realized after you said, well, man, I've had like a third of a can of this Mountain Dew and I'm feeling it, and then I realized like, shit, I've been drinking pretty good now. And we, at that point, I don't know about you, I hadn't eaten a meal in like 36 hours.
Yeah, there was not a lot of eating going on.
Which was like, in hindsight, that's the way of things, and I always bring snacky poos with me to like, because I need to.
Yeah.
And other things can get like medically very dangerous. So I have enough to just basically like keep the boat from sinking, kind of a thing, but not eating a meal for anything that's sustainable to keep me going. I was like, I'm getting a little loopy loop here.
Yeah.
And that felt good.
Good. Then you came out backstage with an American flag.
Dude, yeah, I went back into the green room to the pisser, and then at that point I had the revelation that I bet Elvis pissed in this pisser. Probably was the hard Mountain Dews talking.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm coming out and there's a fucking American flag in the back of the stage. And I'm like, let's fucking do this. And I grab the flag and I'm like, Val, and I look at him and he's like, let's go. Val was nothing but like the positive instigator, the kind of guy that like when you have a bad idea and he's there, he encourages you how good that bad idea is. Dude, and I fucking love that.
I know. Yeah. So like for all like the negative experience it was like meeting him and like him not knowing like what was going on initially, afterward he like woke up and started to like kind of kick it into gear. He was a fucking riot, dude. That guy was awesome.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I got some footage of him. I'm going to do a video kind of recap on my experience at LVO. I have some footage of like the last day. It was Sunday. I was just going around and I got some really cool stuff. And one of them was like, I found him. He was up on the stage. He was like fucking wrapping up cables and shit. And I just turned the camera on him. And he starts talking about slap chops. And he's oh god, he's funny. So what a character. There was so many characters there. So many people that we met, which is kind of the storyline that I'm taking for my video, which probably by the time that this episode is airing, that video will be out, is the unexpected experiences I had with gamers that were tournament player gamers there, and what their hobby experience, their hobby journey, what they valued in the hobby, and what that looked like is not something that I really had conversations about with people before. And it just was like these small conversations that on their own weren't like revelations, but because I had so many similar conversations with people that are like in the hobby of a kind of on a different parallel path to mine, that I just completely hadn't thought about.
Right, yeah.
How they do things, how they think, what they value, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it totally made me like have some aha moments. So I really appreciated all that. So every single one of you goddamn sweaty 40K tournament players, that's what I appreciate about you.
That's what he appreciates. I love how my reputation for being like a GW leak is preceding me into the gamer sphere. I fucking love it. And so poor Caleb Wissenbeck got his case with painted, beautiful Primarchs, multiple Primarchs, and other shit stolen while it was hanging out somewhere near the GW booth in the vendor hall. It got stolen. And I was like, so that was sad. But Vel was telling me that there was a rumor going around that I was the one that stole it. And so, like, I have this reputation as, like, whenever something mysteriously happens, it's fucking Scott's fault. I fucking love that. It was so funny.
It was good that, like, we would, as part of the setup, and some of the other awesome LVO staff were there and whatever, and we hadn't even been introduced to them yet. They were walking around doing stuff. Didn't know who they were, whatever. And randomly, they're like, there's a talk about something related to like some 40K game or something and whatever, and then just randomly guys would be like, well, make sure Scott doesn't take any pictures of that.
yeah like they were just cracking jokes. And then I think I started to slowly figure out while they were setting up for Tough Live that more of them knew about our podcast than I had originally thought, because they were talking about things from the podcast and shit like canes and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, so we are with people that kind of know like what's going down. So that made me feel more comfortable as well, because they kind of knew what our basic production looks like and what our minimal requirements are.
Yeah, that was so cool. I mean, it was a very humbling experience, because the whole 40K tournament scene, and even there was the Age of Sigmar tournament was massive as well. Like I felt more like we're all in this together in that weekend than I've ever felt. I've never really felt that the game first and the paint first were one and the same. I feel like they are the same coin. They're just different sides of it, but you still need both sides. Otherwise, it's not a coin anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just a flat plane.
Yeah, dude. It's just
like in a 1D world.
It's like a coin that you put on a train tracks and the train runs over it, and then it just squishes all of the fucking George Washington's face off it, dude.
Dang, dude.
Nobody wants that squish coin.
That GW. Wow, Jesus Christ. I don't know how to spell George Washington.
WWGW do. What would GW do? They'd raise prices 6%. Oh, that's a spoiler. Spoiler for the news section.
Spoiler for the news section. Yeah. So, Tough Live ended. It was a good experience. I did a little crowd surfing at the end there.
Dude, how about that for a fucking memory for the rest of your life?
That's fucking sick. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know how many people groped your nards, but I hope it was at least 3.
I got a couple gropers. Next time at Adepticon, there's a stage. It's your turn, bud.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do the Creed, can you take, and then I just put the fucking Jesus cross sign and I just drop backwards.
There you go.
And then everyone parts.
The trust fall.
Yeah.
That'd be sad.
Oh man,
great footage though. Don't drop John if he does that, please.
Come on, let's go there. Ready, day. All right, now I got a new goal in life. With that Michael Staff treatment. Okay, so we have a great end of the show, and we get pictures with people. We get to chat with people. That's my favorite part of fucking Tough Live.
Yeah, there was no line like at Adepticon. It was just a mob of people.
It was just a circle. It was a semicircle.
We just hung out for 30, 45 minutes.
Because I think the reason why was at the end of Adepticon Live, you gave instructions like a fucking teacher. You're like, if you want to chat with us, you want to take a picture or whatever, make a line here, and then we'll go out afterwards. So people just listen to you.
Okay.
This also was a much bigger room that
Yeah.
although they were used to the line. We had fucking Macaroni there.
We did.
Macaroni, the defense dog.
Yes.
Great
job.
Defense against the dark arts.
No one got a line.
No, Macaroni did not need to chomp on anybody.
No one.
So we met Macaroni at
Love macaroni in Austin.
in Adepticon last year, and sure enough, they were there.
They're there again.
Macaroni miniatures.
If you want affordable, like STLs, not STLs, like physical models, like for academic busts, for instance, that aren't like $40, but are more like $20 or $25, check out Macaroni Miniatures.
Yeah.
They were quality, very simple busts used for academic purposes, but also way more models than just that. They weigh more than just the busts.
Yeah. So yeah, Macaroni had his own booth even.
Yeah.
So
I got 2 stickers from them as well.
Oh, this is sweet ass stickers, and I got some stickers from people. Like fucking guy in the Bojangled bodysuit gave me a
Oh yeah, the party at the All Points guy.
party at the All Points dude.
Yeah.
The first day that I saw him, he was wearing fucking short Hawaiian shorts and like a Baywatch
Man, after my own heart, dude.
like a Baywatch sleeveless shirt.
Fucking love it.
Looked like he just got off the beach in a fucking fanny pack, and he whipped out a sticker for me. And I was
Okay,
like,
he's whipping that out, not something else, dude.
yeah, that dude was there to party. Dude, he was.
I love it.
He was fucking Chris Pontius of LVO, party boy.
Yeah.
So we finally get done there. We get up.
Was that a Jackass reference?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Drop off our shit. Or no, we didn't even drop off our
we
shit.
didn't.
We didn't have shit. We had some shit, but we didn't drop off. Well, we were like
Yeah, like a
dying of hunger.
Yes. So at like midnight.
Yes. We went to walk around to all of the restaurants in the whole fucking Rio to find if anything was open.
Yes.
And the pho place was open.
The pho place was open. And we had some recommendations from Kenny Boucher and also from some of the guys involved in Magikarp Used Fly and Bricky and like their whole like crew over there. They had also recommended the pho place, and so it come twice recommended, and
Twice
so
recommended.
we went for it. I got some mystery meat.
Oh yeah, dude, you got the one with the tripe and the fucking ox balls and shit.
It wasn't bad. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I go usually straight brisket, beef brisket, because I don't like eating like thoraxes and shit. But that was good. The broth
was good.
The broth was solid. I was probably like a 9 out of 10, 9.1 out of 10. One bite, everybody knows the rules.
Yes.
Yeah, that broth was killer. Noodles and meat, less so. But if you got a good broth on your pho, I mean, you're there, baby.
Yeah.
That's all you need. That felt so good to just sit down and eat.
Oh my God, yeah. Because at that point, it was like all we have left is day 2 of the class, and that is just like. That it's kind of easy because like now that we know that day 1 is fine, we have all the gear, nothing catastrophic happened, everything else is set in motion. We have our slides, we have our whatever the notes we have outside of the slides. Everything's planned, like we're fine. Like there's no more mystery basically. Yeah. All we gotta do is fucking sit here and eat this lovely soup.
Yeah, and it was
so that was just such a fucking. Just a sigh of relief at that time.
It nourished both our souls and our stomachs.
Yes.
So we went back, fucking crashed. I think that was in our first great conversation about the window. Like,
yes.
we had recognized it before, but understanding how much you could actually see through the window between our bathroom and the bedroom. So if someone was in the shower, you could just see him in the shower.
We didn't get that shot though.
I know. I thought when I watched the episode back, I'm like, fuck, I forgot that shot.
Did you meet anyone you didn't expect to meet? Because I met Demeki from Dice Check. You know Demeki?
His name sounds familiar.
Yeah, the name is super familiar. But I met him for a brief period, and that was so awesome. I wish I could have talked to him for longer, obviously. But I think he was on his way to a game, and I was on my way to a class. I met Demeki, and then I also met the guys from Season of War, the Age of Sigmar YouTube channel as well. Did you meet anyone?
Yeah. Well, the Play on Tabletop guys were there.
Nice.
That was cool. The problem is oh shit.
Yeah, now you gotta remember the fucking names.
No, I know it. He's the Australian dude that does Age of Sigmar. And
AOS Shorts?
AOS Coach.
AOS Coach. Okay.
Fucking Coach. Yeah, I got to meet Coach, and I had a great conversation with him. Again, everything is in like these 5-minute spurts of time of just meeting people.
Like, I'm on my way to a class right now. Let's talk for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so walking.
Talking to Coach was wild. It's one of those, like, he's kind of a larger than life person, both like visually. He's just like he looks like a character, and like he's got a massive personality. So kind of like talking with him in person was really fucking cool. I know that there were other people there that I met that I thought, just like a bunch of people that were fans or patrons.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That was awesome.
We met the guy who does, Umbrella Games. We met him.
Yeah.
Store owner for Umbrella Games. Kyle, yeah.
Which, Kyle is such a fucking sweetheart. He
really is. He's so chill.
Yeah. He's so much more of like a mild-mannered, soft-spoken dude that in a sea of boisterous people.
Yeah.
Just really authentic dude, and we love Kyle. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I felt that as well.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Kyle.
Yeah. I didn't mean to sidetrack us there.
No, that's good.
I forgot about Demeki, and that happened earlier in our trip, and I wanted to mention that I saw him.
Yeah, I didn't see any. I didn't see Henry Cavill. I didn't see fucking Spider-Man. What's his name?
Fucking Spider-Man?
The young guy, the new one.
Oh.
Not
Tom?
Yeah,
the
Tom.
Actual actor?
Yeah, the actor.
Why the fuck would you have seen him?
Because apparently he's learning 40K from Henry Cavill. He's getting into it.
Oh, seriously?
And also the dude, I just saw the dude that plays Hopper on Stranger Things. There's pictures of him on Instagram painting Space Marines.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, he had fucking sexy gogs on too.
All right.
That's a guy I want to reach out to, man. That's a bit of me, that guy right there. Yeah.
There you go.
Get some fucking painting in with the sexy gogs.
Yeah. So we fucking ate some fucking soup, went back to our room, and we watched diners, drive-ins, and dives for 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, we did.
It was like 1 a.m. at this point, or 1:30, and then kind of went to sleep.
It's our second Mystery Science Theater 3000 moment for the weekend, where it was us just fucking commentating and shit talking about diners, drive-ins, and dives the whole time. And this was a scary moment because I was glad that you adulted there, because I was at that point where I was so tired, and you get your second burst of energy and you're laughing and you're doing something, and I was just like, I don't want this fucking night to end. And then I was like, no, we got to go to class tomorrow. I'm like, okay. And then I fucking zonked out right away. Yeah. I was out. Pro tip, when you're not sleeping in a fucking twin-sized bed with another grown-ass man at a convention, you sleep way better.
Unless you drink a lot of alcohol, like we'll discuss on day 2.
Yeah, that did not happen.
No, yeah, it fucking happened. You are not getting out of this.
Oh, no.
You deserve what's coming.
All right.
So we woke up.
Dude, I didn't pee the bed.
Spoilers. We woke up. We did our class 2. I don't know if we really need to explain much about what happened. It was kind of more of the same, but at the end, we get to do the fun thing where we take pictures of the students, where we get to take pictures of their models, and everyone says a lot of nice things as they're kind of heading out.
Yeah, we require them to say nice things. They're not allowed.
We require it. Yeah. It's part of the ticket cost.
Yeah.
So that was super nice, and then we kind of went into the evening of that third day, technically, and we had a low lunch with Jason Craze of Monument Hobbies, Slow Fuse on Twitch if you know him there, and also Steve Garcia, an amazing American painter, myself, John, Casey, and also Jen,
yes.
Jason's wife, right?
I don't know if they're married. Yeah.
Partner.
Significant other.
Yeah, and so we went out to a steak place, and Jason treated, and it was super kind of him. It was really lovely food, and we had just fucking amazing conversations. Like,
yeah,
the amount of knowledge at that table was fucking incredible.
Yeah, it was so wild, and I had never met Steve in person before, but I fucking love Steve. Steve also played a key moment later in the evening, which was part of my undoing, but we'll let that happen, unfold when it happens. But just so cool, like that we ended up there for probably like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And first of all, like the steak was so good you didn't even have to chew it.
No, it was so good. I had like a 45-day age piece of like bone-in ribeye, and like it becomes a different kind of meat like after that amount of like dry aging, because it was just like, it was so funky and just different tasting, It was incredible.
Yeah, man. And the bread, dude, they got fucking bread.
Oh, that like Hawaiian sweet kind of buttery roll.
Yeah, like if you know what Hawaiian rolls are, think about if like a fancy ass steakhouse made fresh made Hawaiian rolls,
Deluxe,
deluxe, right, and put them on your table, and the fucking like you didn't even need to put butter on them. They didn't even give you butter. That's how fucking buttery they were.
You did not need it.
Did not need it. So I just filled up on the free stuff, but. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, Jason is such a fucking cool dude.
He knows so much shit. It's insane. I kind of had a realization that Jason started out his career in the hobby as a content creator like us on Twitch. And then he chose to go toward more of a business angle. Or I don't know if he chose to do that, but for better or for worse, that's kind of how I perceive Jason on the larger internet. Like he is more of a business than he is a content creator at this point, which is not like an issue or anything like that. And like someone else that we know and are friends with is like Luke APS. Like I would say maybe he still kind of maintains some of that content creator feel. Maybe I'm saying that because I'm a YouTuber and I see his content more than I see Jason's content on Twitch. But he also has kind of more of a business angle. And it's so interesting to think about like how you can just take that different approach to like how you run your business online to kind of be more of a product focused thing. Because man, he is just taking it. He's taking it so far. He's so knowledgeable. He's really putting in the work to make sure that he's creating like quality stuff. Like the way he talks about it and the way he's passionate about it. It's just like it was intoxicating. It was like when I talked to him, I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do together, but I want to work with you. I don't know what it's gonna be, and so I totally understand how you like wanted to make that paint set with him because it's so great to collaborate with. Yeah. It's incredible.
He's one of those people that you just know that when you work with him, that he has everybody's best interest in mind.
Yeah, he's gonna take care of you, 100%. So if Jason ever approaches you, like, trust him.
Yeah, and when I say everybody, it's most important. It's equally valuable that the person that is going to be taken care of is going to be the customer. Like he's not going to do something that is going to lead to a bad experience, something that he doesn't stand behind, and so it feels really good. He also just has he has probably 30 plus, at least 30 years of his own experiences in the hobby. So he has all this background of understanding this as it was that hobby for him for such a long time and working and owning other businesses and like kind of a collaboration of all his life experience and what he's learned and like kind of all funneling it into something that kind of encompasses it all, which is really, really freaking cool. So, that was great. And I always have a good time with him and Jen's funny too. She got my Laverne and Shirley joke. So she's on my good list, but really, really great people. We get back. And we decided, we're going to just kind of hang out. We're trying to figure out where people were.
Yeah.
Because finally,
now it's time to do the thing that we love doing at cons.
Yeah, it's time to
chatting with people.
Just break free. And one of the bars at the casino, a bunch of people were there. And we got to hang out with Seth. We got to hang out with Nightcat. Now, if you don't know who Nightcat is, let me explain this to you.
This is a John term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this entire time, when we were at the convention, Seth has his right-hand woman. Also, I believe she works for Game Castle. Her name is Kat, and they work together. And she is the organized, get shit done person. When there was anything we needed, she was there. When there was anything that we didn't know we needed, but it was really nice and we didn't think about it, she was already there with it. She would be, you give her 10 minutes, I don't know. She could have come with like a gaggle of clowns.
She came with Lambo. Like I could have asked her anything and she got it.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
She's just quiet. She's reserved. She's very smart. I could just tell like her brain was working way faster than mine at any given time.
I don't know if you got this vibe from her, but did she just seem like she just didn't like you? Because I felt like I was being a terrible person to her, and that she like rightfully hated me.
No, I don't think so.
Man, I felt like I was being an asshole to her at some point, either like earlier in my life or like there, and she was just kind of like dealing with me and my bullshit.
She just seems like a very quiet person.
Okay.
Until the Nightcat comes out.
Until the Nightcat comes out.
Yeah. So when we met up with
Full
them,
Moon comes out.
yeah. When we met up with them, there's a bunch of other different painting teachers and different students and just all sorts of cool people just hanging around. And she had been partaking in some spirited libations, and she was a different fucking person. Like, all of the introvert was just like left back in the hotel room, and she was talking shit, and she was laughing, and she was making jokes, and I was like, who the hell are you? And then we got to talking about like all the things that she was probably going around in her head for the last 2 days. Yeah. And I like made her say them out loud.
Yeah.
And it was so good. It was so good. And I realized like, no, she's just a genuinely like caring, hardworking person that wants things to work well. And she has a skill set that I very much appreciate. But we ended up like aligning between her, Seth, and myself a magic showdown at Adepticon, a commander magic showdown, where I needed to pick my partner that's going to go against those two. And they were talking mad shit, and I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. And I was like, I just like pulled out of my pocket. I'm like, I pulled my Vincey V card, and like Vincey V. I hadn't talked to Vince about this. I didn't talk to him until like 2 days later. I'm like, Vince, I have a job for you. And he's like, I explained it to him, and he's like, I'm in.
Yes.
So we've already started strategizing. They stand no chance.
They stand no chance.
Yeah.
Didn't they divulge their entire secret
yeah.
plan?
This was the fucking first mistake. They fucking told me what their whole deck was and their deck plans.
You guys gotta swap it out. Change it up.
Yeah, you better hurry up. You better hurry
You're
up.
gonna walk into a trap.
Dude, I'm gonna fucking play my trap card. This is gonna be it. It's gonna be over.
We kind of split up at this point in the night. We're talking to different people.
Yeah.
And so like while you were chatting there, I was chatting with Tesh, my Blizzard developer, man.
Oh, okay.
He told me about a YouTube channel he loves called $1 Billion Clown Farm, which is a hobby channel with like some of the greatest hits, like taste testing every single one of Duncan Rhodes paints from his new paint range, and he's literally putting the whole fucking bottles in his mouth and like tasting them.
Oh, not the paint itself, just the bottles.
No, just the fucking bottles. I was just like, what the fuck, it's son. And like, I think he had one video from LVO called like the most important content, and it was him reviewing all the restaurants at the Rio. And I was just like, I love this off the wall shit. So that was hilarious. But I also got to give him some shit about Diablo 3 that I think is a trash game. But also Warcraft 3 Reforged, which if you're a fan of that game, which is a really old game, but it recently got like a kind of like a reskin, like kind of new models, all kinds of stuff, and it was handled very poorly. And when I brought it up to Tesh, he just shriveled up and died inside because he loved that IP so much, and it didn't get the treatment it deserved. But I got to chat with him for a long time, and that was a lot of fun talking about video games and getting his recommendations, stuff like that. And then at some point, Ridge from Season of War came over with a lottery ticket, and he won.
Lottery ticket is his payout.
His payout. Yeah. So he had won some $200 or $400.
He was at $400.
$400, and he was like, do I put it on Black Scott? Do I do it? And he was like, hugging me every 4 fucking seconds.
Yes.
And I was like, you already defied the odds and won money. Just walk away with the money. And I said, no, don't bet it. And John was like, bet it. And then he started hugging John, and then he started hugging me, and he was like so drunk.
He's like, but I'd get $800.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just painted a picture for him.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, you only live once. Think of the story.
Oh my god.
Think of what you can do with $800, whatever. And listen, because I'd been hanging out with Val a good amount at this point, and I was like, he rubbed off on me. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I love to be that.
Gotta be an enabler.
Yeah. That bad devil on your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I think by the end of the night, he was still going around and saying the same thing with the same ticket.
Yeah, dude. He was just telling everybody about it.
He was doing it for like 2 straight hours.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Steve Garcia, his nickname is Tequila Steve.
Tequila Steve has a reputation.
He's got a reputation of buying everybody shots of tequila again.
Yeah, and being able just to drink shots of tequila endlessly and having them, quote, not affect him. Yeah. That's his opinion.
Sure. I think if it just like if it affects everybody else more, it seems like it's not affecting him.
Yeah.
Because he texted in the group Discord like the next day. He's like, what, the rest of you guys didn't get up and go to the gym first thing in the morning?
Yeah. So it's like 7 a.m. and he's like working out and shit or whatever, 8 a.m.
Yeah, I was like, nah, Steve, I'm still drunk. So they went from that to randomly running into Juan Carlos, who is a student in our class.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, the fucking nicest dude. So he was the guys that in the 11th hour, he was telling me that like when our kind of seats things got a little bit screwed up, and in the 11th hour we had openings for the class, and he brought his buddy along.
Yeah.
That it was like, do it, dude. We're gonna do it. We're gonna fucking weekend road trip to Vegas.
He roped him in. Yeah.
Roped him in. We're gonna do this, and he just kind of stopped over at the bar and just be like, "Hey guys, just want to thank you, like, and take up your time." He's super fucking polite. He's like, "But it just was such a fucking awesome weekend. Thanks so much." And he was down like $1,000. Him and his buddy were both down like $1,000 from the tables. I don't even know what they were playing. And I should have just said thank you and let him go, but I did not.
No.
And I went on to continue to drink tequila with Juan Carlos, and he introduced me to the drink Paloma.
70% tequila. That's what he said.
Yeah, Paloma is tequila and grapefruit juice. And somehow Juan Carlos knew the bartender.
He did. He ordered a water for me because I had cottonmouth for like 4 hours, and I was too much of an awkward idiot to like go and ask for a free water from the bar because I was kind of like, I don't want to waste these guys' time. They work on tips, so I was just sitting there with a fucking dry ass mouth, and he ordered water for me, and I was like, I was super appreciative of that. Thank you, Juan Carlos.
Yeah, we love you.
We love you.
Yeah, and that Paloma was kind of like when the wheelbarrow's full and you put one more brick in it, and then the wheelbarrow tips over and all the bricks fall out.
Yeah, and it breaks. And
yeah,
it's no longer usable.
And then I had the idea right around this time that I was going to get a tattoo because there was a tattoo parlor in the Rio,
and there was some guy who was like challenging you in some way. I don't know. First of all, hold on. One thing about Tequila Steve, he bought tequila shots for everybody. But I was already under the influence at that point from a different substance. I didn't want to then also get drunk. And so I was like, I don't want to drink the shot. Is that okay? It was not okay.
It was not okay.
No one denies Tequila Steve a shot. And I did because I didn't want to drink it. Thankfully, someone else drank it. And then you drank another shot with him as payment.
Yeah. I bought one. See, that was the problem too, is I bought one for me and Tequila Steve. And then I was like, I didn't realize that they just keep coming.
Yeah. So I guarantee at Adepticon, if you catch me earlier, I will drink a shot of tequila, if not a couple. I promise.
Oh, Lordy.
I promise.
I'm not holding your hair back.
All right, back to the tattoo fucking situation.
Who this fucking guy was,
okay,
I don't know.
I met these guys earlier. They were they came from, there was a local game store they came from. They were there at the event. I was chatting with them. They were super nice. And the guy you spoke to was his friend who wasn't as much of a painter. The guy I was talking to was a commission painter. His buddy was more of a gamer. Mm-hmm. And so he's talking to you, and he's talking about getting a palette or a tattoo on your thumb that said the word palette.
At first, it was get the word palette, and then it evolved into I was gonna get like Bob Ross palette that they hold.
Yeah, with the thumb.
Yeah, that is gonna be just that on my hand of one of those, a hard palette, right? Which I still stand behind. It's a fucking great idea. And Con John, if nothing else, comes out with one or two bangers.
Right.
And then this guy was, I don't want to say aggressive, but assertive in like challenging me to get it. And I was like, oh, fine, then you fucking get it. And he's like, well, I don't even paint. I'm like, then don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
Shut your goddamn mouth. He's like, well, I'll get it. And I'm like, well, you're going to fucking get it on your hand. He's like, well, no, I work a professional job. And I'm like, dude, it's 2023, man. You could get it on your fucking neck and no one's gonna give a shit these days. And if they do, we're in a goddamn employees market right now. You hold all the power. And he was just
he was explaining this while Omega drunk, right? All that was coming to you.
Yeah, this is all. I'm like, dude, I've been working longer in corporate America longer than you've been alive, so you need to just buck up, buddy. Let's fucking go. Yeah. And it kind of comes, the pinnacle is we're fucking walking there.
Yeah. They approached me and they were like, Scott, should this happen? And I was like, no, it shouldn't. Like, it's a good idea for a tattoo. It'll be a good idea tomorrow when like you can actually make a choice for yourself. So just wait until tomorrow. But then we're like, okay, we'll walk there. I knew for a fact it wasn't open.
Yeah.
And I also knew Casey mentioned to me that tattoo artists are not allowed to tattoo someone who's drunk.
No, yeah, because your blood's thinned.
Yeah, and so I knew that it wasn't going to happen. Yeah. But so we humored the trek over to the tattoo parlor in the Rio, and then it was closed, thankfully.
And luckily, that's nearby where our hotel rooms elevators were.
Yeah, and then at that point, everyone was like freaking out about how drunk you were, and they were like, "It's time, take him away, Scott, take him away." And so we kind of just we left at that point and then went to sleep. And it was like 4 a.m. It was like 4:30.
Was it that late?
It was 4 a.m. Yeah, it was definitely after 4.
I do not remember what time it was, but I do remember we got up the next morning.
There's another detail you don't remember.
I
bet
do
you
not
don't
remember.
We're walking to the elevators. You grabbed my hand and you're like, I want to hold your hand. I can't believe. Do you not remember this? I do not remember that. You just needed a guiding hand. You were just a little. You were like, I don't know where we're going, and I was like, I'll take you. We'll go there. And so you and me and Juan Carlos go up to our floor. I think the 10th floor, 6th floor, and then we go to our room. I wasn't holding your hand at this point. It was just to the elevator. And then we go to sleep. But the fun does not end there.
Oh, no.
Okay? So we go to sleep, 4 a.m.
I'm hearing all this for the first time.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, at like 5, I wake up and I feel wet. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I hear John shuffling around in the room. And it's it's dark. It's dark at this point. I'm like, why am I wet? And so I turned the lamp on, and we had been foraging for bottles of water because there was like no
weekend.
Yeah, because there was no water in the room. And so one of the bottles of water was completely emptied into my bed, tipped over on top of my comforter. And I'm like, what the fuck? And you are standing at the end of my bed like a goddamn gremlin, like groping around on my bed. And the first thing you say is, oh, this isn't my bed? And I was like, no, it isn't. Get the fuck out. And so like you went over to your bed. If I was an asshole, I should have been like, you're sleeping here now. Like I want your bed. But I didn't. I went and fucking changed my underwear because they were soaked.
You were all soaked?
Yeah, I was wet.
What did I do? I was like watering plants in there?
Yeah, you just, I don't know. I think maybe you dropped it in the bed and it tipped over. You weren't like deliberately pouring it on me.
Like I went to get water. I probably was like, I'm so dehydrated.
Yeah.
And then I just go to my bed and hit the edge and drop the water.
Exactly. Yeah, because it was by my waist area. So I think you maybe were like on the side of it, like kind of working your way around the perimeter or something. I'll fucking know.
Oh no.
And so yeah, so I went, got changed underwear, went back to bed. I went on the right side of the bed that wasn't soaked by water, and then went to sleep and woke up. And then we woke up and discovered that your bed was also a little wet, but it was missing a key detail: an empty water bottle. So how the fuck did it get there, John?
I woke up sweaty as fuck, just like at a Decepticon.
Oh yeah, the sweat, right? Yeah.
Dude, I smelled everything. I took off my.
It doesn't matter.
I smelled everything. It did smell like pee. I don't think I peed.
All right.
I mean, it's possible.
I mean, the rest of the story is bad enough that I almost don't care if it doesn't include that. But
it's probably better if it was pee. That means I don't know. But the other thing was though, just like at Adepticon, and I wake up the next day and I'm sweaty all over.
Yeah.
Like my forehead's sweaty, my hair is wet with sweat, my fucking shirt is soaked.
Yeah.
So I think it's like crank this thing too far, too many tequila Steves in my system.
Too many.
And it just, the whole body is like, and it just releases the floodgates.
Yeah.
And maybe a little pee. I don't know.
Every orifice.
From every orifice. So then I went back down because I'm like, I got all this footage I still need to take. I need to go shopping or whatever.
We woke up at like 8 because we wanted to go to the vendor hall. We haven't been to the vendor hall really yet at all.
Yeah. And I had to go check on pick up my model, my competition model that I entered.
Yeah.
I had totally forgotten about that. And I was like, I gotta go do all these things. And I had my camera out and I just took walks and I was like, I'm still fucking drunk. I was like, why do I not feel like death? But I just feel like I'm walking in goddamn quicksand. I was like, it's because I'm still drunk. So I went through that whole experience, which was cool, but it was also like under the clock of like all these things I still wanted to do.
Yeah,
I just did not have time to do, and talking to everybody and everything.
I had an 11 a.m. flight right on Sunday, and so we were kind of out of there like pretty early.
Yeah, and there was a number of people at the vendor hall area that I wanted to talk more with. I wanted to talk more with the Warlord Games guy. One of the reps there. I had a really good conversation with him on Saturday, like over lunchtime.
I did not know that he was there.
Yeah, I got his card too. But on Saturday over the lunch hour, when I dropped off my competition mini, I just took a quick loop in there and I talked to Byron from Artist Opus. I wanted to talk to him again. I wanted to talk to Warlord Games guy again. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And then also my good buddies from Norse Foundry were there, and they had a booth. And they're the company that produced my dice trays.
Yes.
And super, super nice guys. They have a lot of really cool stuff and different dice that they manufacture in trays and holders and all sorts of cool, nerdy stuff. I wanted to go talk to Jason some more. There was just a number of them. What's the company where all their models didn't make it there? Mindwork.
So I talked to Mateo for a little bit, but I really wish that we would have had a longer conversation. Because when am I ever going to see Mateo again? I had no idea. Wow, I had no idea that he would go to LVO.
Yeah, of all things.
That was a strange place to see him. So I saw him there, and also I found a Minnesota company that was showing off a skirmish war game, and I was like, this is kind of cool.
Sweet.
I didn't know that was going to happen. Then I met some friends from the Forge, which is a store in Chaska. He was wearing his Vanguard shirt. Vanguard Tactics, I believe. So I had a chat with him. But yeah, I wish I had more time in the vendor hall just to talk with people too.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk with Mateo because I love the stuff that company makes.
Yeah, dude.
So I'm just like, I want to find a way to work with you or just fucking, I actually just wanted to buy some models because their whole shipment of all their miniatures got fucking lost in the mail.
Which sucks because honestly, the one thing that sucks about Mindwork games, I'll be honest about this, is that their shipping is terrible. Like they take forever to get you shit. So if you can get it at a con when it's just there right away, that's super nice. But in this case, unfortunately, we couldn't. It wasn't their fault.
But they were also offering, because their shit wasn't there, they were offering like the discounted con prices and free shipping.
That's super
for you to place orders there.
You didn't do that though?
But I didn't have fucking time, so I didn't make it back to their booth. So I was pissed. My only my consolation was well, if they came to this, maybe they're making a more concerted effort to go to more events, which means they would probably come to Adepticon. I got to imagine you would not, like, if those were two options, relatively similar time frames in America, like you'd choose LVO over Adepticon, unless they had some conflicting plans or something and they could only do one. But
they have been going to several cons lately. I've seen on their Instagram that they've been to several different shows that I've never even heard of. Yeah. They're kind of more like tangential to miniature painting. So maybe they're just going to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Well, with that, we made our way to the fucking airport. Scotty Boo checked his bags. We made our way through, and we got on a plane, and everyone was watching the football game, so the end of the 49ers-Eagles game.
That was interesting, because, like, at one moment when an ad played, everyone's, like, all the screens turned yellow, and the airplane just turned yellow at the same time, because everyone was watching the same thing. That was funny.
Yeah, and I fell asleep. So I started a movie, that Everything, Anywhere, Everywhere, All at Once.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah, and I fell asleep 15 minutes into it, and I woke up, and I had been asleep for like an hour and 15 minutes, and I felt so much better.
Yeah.
They get that nap in, and then I got to watch the rest of the second football game, because I'm like, I'm not fucking paying attention to this movie. I missed the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I decided that, and we fucking landed at home.
Yeah, I fell asleep during the, not during, but I was asleep for the takeoff. I was so fucking zonked.
Yeah.
Because we had a long, it's not a taxi. What's like the thing that happens before you take off? Is it a taxi?
Yeah, we were waiting on the runway.
Yeah, we were forever.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So I fell asleep, and then when I wook up, we were flying, and I was like, man, okay.
Never done that before. You feel like it's enough of a jarring thing.
Yeah, you'd wake up. No, I didn't.
This happens when someone throws a water bottle in your bed. Is this in my bed?
It was not. But yeah, then we got back and it was all done. And then I had fucking COVID. That's the added cost of a con that you don't expect, is that I fucking had COVID then and I couldn't go and work in an office then.
I feel like this is another data point that I'm a superhero. I'm a mutant.
Yeah.
But my only superpower is I don't get COVID.
Only when you drink a lot.
I think, because I've never had COVID, and my wife has had it twice, my daughter's had it twice, you've had it.
And there are reasons why, if I had it, you should fucking have it, because we make out all the time.
Yeah, dude, the fucking hand holding.
The hand holding is dead giveaway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got it like right after, meaning like right at the first day, so like you were fucking had it, and then I was like, we were together
the entire time. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I never got it. Felt like a goddamn hero after I got all that tequila out of my system. Went home, went on the treadmill, and could sweat the rest of it out, Steve-O. And I, just to like stay on brand, before we move on to the news segment, I got to take a piss, and I'm going to come back with an American flag. All right, I'm back from my pee, and real quick, before we jump on to newsy news, I forgot to just talk real quickly about my miniature that I entered for competition, which was the same one I entered for Golden Demon and Adepticon last year. Because I felt like, we're going all the way out there. They have a painting competition. I should bring something. I haven't really painted anything new to display level later, so I was like, I'll just get more feedback and more stuff on my my Dark Eldar Grotesque. And when I was packing it up, I was like looking at it again, as I hadn't sat and analyzed it in probably 6 to 9 months, and I saw a lot of things that I would do differently, and a lot of areas for improvement. And which I think is a good feeling. I mean, I took it as a good feeling, and I was like, I feel like I would do this differently, or I could do this better if I did it over again and stuff. And then our first night there, we were hanging out with Andy Wardle and Willie Hanna.
Yeah, they came back to our room. That was a fun evening. Yeah,
and we just talked miniature painting and shit. And Will, who is phenomenal miniature painter, took a really close look at my model. I hadn't turned it in yet, and I asked him for feedback, and I asked him for where am I lacking here, and the couple of main things that he talked about 2 things, and those were the 2 things that when I looked at it before, I'm like, this isn't right, this isn't good enough, this just needs more things done to it, and so I felt really good. I ended up getting a silver in the Masters category, so I'm happy with that. I felt pretty good about that.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I think that makes me excited to push to hopefully get my diorama done for Golden Demon and give her a go again. Because I think this piece will be better than last year's piece if I can finish it. So,
that's good. That's good improvement.
Yeah. Okay, well, on to the newsy news.
On to the news. Let's do it. Hobby community organizes to raise funds for Cathy Wapple. So Cathy Wapple, I believe, is undergoing treatment still for cancer.
Yep.
And there is a charity opportunity for her if you'd like to support her in that endeavor. And you should, because the Wapples are awesome people, and they're big characters and contributors to our community and our hobby.
Yeah, and so a lot of amazing miniature artists are kind of coming together to auction off pieces. You can also just straight up donate a couple of bucks to help but the goal is to help pay for Cathy's ongoing expenses. And it really is a testament to our miniature painting community that rising up to help somebody in need, someone that's so selfless for this hobby, like Cathy and James are. So yeah, we want to put the word out to that to have you kind of just go click the link below and just take a look at it at the very least.
Yeah, and we'll have that link down in the show notes or the description based on where you are listening.
Yes. Next one, this just came across my email the other day, yesterday I think actually, that GW sent out official notification that they're raising the prices. Starting the 6th of March, we'll be increasing the prices of the following things: plastic miniatures, Forge World and Citadel resin miniatures,
the books,
standard and artificer Citadel brushes, as well as spray paints.
All right, so
what's not included are starter sets, paint pots, Citadel tools, codexes, rule books, and battle tomes.
Okay.
So minis.
Yeah.
Kind of a big one. So 6% increase.
Plastic models. But not the ones in starter sets.
Yeah, they want to keep, so it's this is by proxy, you get more value out of them now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, it is what it is. I don't know the reasoning behind it, nor can I speculate. I have no discourse. for this.
Because there's just so many things that could be happening, right? They could be just wanting more money. They could have had a project that flopped and have like a loan out for a huge thing that they didn't make money or recoup costs on. Like there could be so many fucking reasons why this is happening. But I mean, like as a consumer, you don't have to care about any of those things, honestly, and you can vote with your dollars whether or not you want to support that practice or not.
Yeah. End of the day, a already fairly, if not very expensive hobby is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and 6% isn't nothing. Like,
no, I mean, like especially if you're considering all the price hikes over the last like decade, right? Like it's just like it keeps going up and up and up. But you could say that also the models keep getting better in quality, but also the models are already getting more expensive. Like just the cost of the minis is just going up in general because of the tooling that's being improved and whatnot.
Yep.
Elder Scrolls has a little preview for some vampire boxes. I checked them out. They're kind of bad. And like I don't know about the aesthetic or the design of them, but like the casting quality is pretty meh. But if you do play that board game, I am assuming it's a board game, there are some things now called Dawnguard Vampire Hunters and Vampire Fledglings available to pick up.
Let me look at these vampire fledglings. I gotta imagine they look like buttholes. Yeah, they taste like buttholes.
You check it out, give them a taste. I'll go on to the next one. Wyrd is looking for volunteers to help them staff some upcoming conventions. If you're a fan of Wyrd, if you're a weirdo, check out. And they need some help for Adepticon, Gen Con, Nova, and PAX Unplugged. There's a link down below if you are wanting to contact them to potentially help out.
That's really cool. It'd be really nice. It's like if you're really a champion for a game, and you're like, we're gonna go to the convention anyways. And like, oh, I can sign up and do like a 4-hour slot on one day. And
I would totally do that. Like for a company that I was passionate about.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. At first, I was like, oh yeah, they're just not hiring people. I was like, no, they're just trying to find people that already love their stuff. Would be great. So
yeah,
I'm all for that. At LVO, GW announces a bunch of new stuff. Shocker, more Space Marines. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, yeah, Strike Force Augustus, which is more Space Marines. And there's the fucking... Dude, okay, so there's a Dreadnought. And they claim that this is like is a big deal. This is a new Dreadnought.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my buddies at the local 40K club. And I usually stop. If I can, I stop in on Thursdays. Thursdays is Warhammer night, and so people just come out and they hobby, or they play games, or they're working on stuff for their whatever league, and they got talking about this box. And apparently, the only thing that makes this Dreadnought different from the regular Dreadnought is it has an additional like armor flap on its calves, and then it's got a little thing like coming off of his like stomach area. And I can't remember if it's a gun or another armor flap. It's like literally 2 bits or something. And they just redo the whole kit.
But they're like making a big deal out of it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because it's a whole separate kit. Now,
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So the hope is that all future ones will have all the sprues to be able to make either, or this is an extra sprue you can just buy. But GW don't do that. They don't just like give you that bonus sprue.
No way. No how.
They showed off these new Marathis stuff from Underworlds, these new snake ladies, and they don't do it for me at all. They seem just like all other snake ladies. I mean, not snake ladies, but like what are those called?
Daughters of Cain.
Daughters of Cain. They just look the same. New Seraphon look pretty fucking cool, like in terms of the updated new sculpts. Like high quality, because a lot of their shit is really old sculpts, like their Lizardmen dudes, the Saurus Warriors, and even like now they've gotten some more skink models coming through, but like them coming out with new kits of Seraphon, I think is cool, and they look pretty badass.
Okay, hold on. Can we back it up to these dark elves?
Yeah.
Why they look like midgets? Like look at this one in the front left. Is that one 4 foot tall?
She little.
They're all kind of little. I don't know what's wrong with them. I also am not feeling them. Maybe if I saw the actual model, maybe these photos are kind of doing them a little dirty. Yeah. Because, I mean, in all respects, it's kind of just more of the same thing with a bit of extra zhuzh on it, right?
Yes.
So I should like it, but for some reason I don't very much.
It didn't do anything new or interesting, even from a pose standpoint.
Yeah.
Like none of the poses are really like usually with Underworld's team, at the very least, you find like, oh, that one's got a really cool pose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's always like one that's kind of like sick, like the skeleton ones, the Velman or Velborn, like the leader guy. He's like awesome.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to talk about here real quickly in the announcements from LVO is the new Warcry box, Blood Hunt. Mostly because you and I haven't had a big talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking vampire monks.
We should talk about it, yes.
Oh, that was a big toot. Versus these corn dudes, which are like, I really like those corn dudes too.
They're kind of just more the same kind of corn dudes, though, aren't they?
They're kind of like, to me, they're like this really nice combination of like a traditional corn look and like a more savage, barbarian, traditional Warcry kind of models, like the original ones, like those, the ones that look like Conan kind of guys. They're like they're a marriage there.
Yeah, you're right.
Which I kind of dig. And that leader dude, I think, is a pretty cool model from a painting perspective. They also have the dude that's like running like he's a dog on all fours.
Oh, I forget that's an actual dude. It's not a dog. I thought it was a dog. Oh my god.
It's a dude. Which it's one of those like, I think I need to hold that model in my hand to really decide if I think it's cool or dumb as shit. It can't be that the proportions are correct, because when you look at that model, his arm looks as long as his legs, which is one of the reasons why you think that's not a dude. It's some kind of a dog or a monster.
Yeah, and also he's got his little baby toe poking out the back of his ass, and it looks like a tail.
Yes. It's like, boop.
That's just the angle of the photo.
Yeah. But then the vampire monks.
Vampire monks. All right, give me a Dave Portnoy rating out of 10 right here. You know the rules. One bite.
Everyone knows the rules. Okay,
I'm saying 5-3.
5-3. Okay, so they auto get points for, they got a nice firm undercarriage. You always want that in the piece. I don't want the flop, right? So
great undercarriage.
Yeah. So they have an Eastern aesthetic, and they're vampires. So they're already...
So on paper, this should be like your favorite thing.
This should be my favorite thing of all time. I think the execution fell short noticeably.
Yeah.
I still like them because they're a thing that I would like. But I like the idea of them much more than I like the actual them.
Sure. Yeah.
The one that I think is my favorite is the one with the two-handed sword that he's holding straight up.
Yes.
That's the best.
Yes,
that's the best one.
That one. Yeah.
And that other one.
You are right. And you want to know why I think it's the best one? A lot of these guys have gigantic armor panels and gigantic lower sections, and then really tiny heads, really tiny thin arms, and then gigantic weapons. They seem so comical in nature, but that guy has a nice narrow torso. A nice like his shoulders aren't super big. He has a nice imposing weapon that kind of assists like the pose of the body as well. So I think that one is the best one, 100%. But like otherwise, they kind of look a little goofy.
Yeah, the giant two-handed weapons are kind of silly. It's the dealing with the two like sickles with a rope between them. It's just kind of a hard thing, I feel, to pull off
at scale, especially. Yeah, that rope is so fucking thick and a chunk. Also, every single one of these guys has hair that's sticking straight up.
Yeah, there's a wind, dude. It's very windy there.
There's an updraft.
Yeah,
even the ponytails are kind of like,
Yeah, I think the other dude, the dude with the bat on his shoulder, that dude, I think that one might be pretty fucking cool, but I'd have to take a closer look at him because there's a lot of things going on there that I like. So this is the one where he's got a sword to his side, he's got a bat on his shoulder, he's got a kind of a cool hood. I think the only thing that is not as cool to me is, again, the fucking ropes look like they're the kind of looks like they're the same width as the climbing ropes, and you're a kid in school and you had to climb the rope, and the rope is fucking that big around.
Yeah.
Like, why are the ropes so goddamn big, bros? I mean, you get some smaller ropes. It's not holding up your pants that much better, I gotta believe. Yeah, rope. It's all about rope girth. That's what we've taken away. I give him a 6-3.
6-3. All right, we got 5-3 and 6-3. Yeah. So just because something's a vampire doesn't mean we're gonna like it all the time. It's got to be also a quality model, and some of these are just a little kludgy. But what if they're like really good in Age of Sigmar for Soul of Grave Lords? What if the rules are good? What I've learned about myself is that if I can devise a lore reason to include something in my army, it just makes me so much more willing to include it. Because I didn't give a shit about Vengorian vampire lords at all. I thought the models were dumb. But now I have this what I think is a really cool reason to include the female one as a Vengorian lord in my army. And so now I'm super jazzed about painting the one that I have. So if I could think of some reason that this fits into my story, maybe I'd love him then. I have no idea why that works for me, but it does.
Oh, okay. I've seen some sick ass kit bashes of that model.
Like
that look way better than the regular one. Well, it sounds like,
okay,
why is the bottom half a fucking awesome ass like undead dragon thing, and the top half is just like a big lady?
Just a fucking normal ass person.
Yeah, but they're just large scale. They're like a 54 millimeter version.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah. So I've seen them both where they've taken the top half and turned it into a full fucking vampire. And I've seen them where they've taken the bottom half and they've used other shit to make it like it is more of like a vampire monster.
Oh, yeah.
That one I really fucking like.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty sick.
So, yeah, I have one of those kits too, and I'm just kind of like holding on it, being like,
yeah, what do I do with this?
Something with this, but anyway. Okay, so moral of the story is, yes, if they're good, you can find a lower reason, and
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any other news that jumps out at you, sir?
Yeah, it's always so interesting to me when someone thinks a model is like screams Miniac, and like I would like it, and so I want to mention this one here. There's a new Dark Souls RPG that came out, and there's a pack of models called the Silver and the Dead, and according to our writer, these models scream me.
All right,
and
let's find out.
I mean, what do you think, John? Does this scream Miniac, these models?
I mean, these scream shitty models.
Exactly. They're just bad. Especially the guys with the fucking shields and the skinny ass legs and their dumb ass poses. Yeah, they look so stupid. The other guys are fine, but yeah, not a bit of me. Too much. But if you're into the Dark Souls RPG, check it out. And I love this thing that he has here. James has a thing called the Kickstarter Corner.
Okay.
There are so many Kickstarter campaigns that come out, right? We can't look at all of them. And so we could do one that's like handpicked by James here. And it's it's called the Ghost Maxton Black Brush Set. This is a synthetic brush made from nylon. And it comes with a sick ghost cup if you want it. And
that is kind of a sick ghost cup.
You probably do. But apparently there's been a couple of these campaigns. 4 previous ghost brush campaigns.
Bruh.
Jesus Christ.
So many ghostesses they've got to collect for these.
But yeah, I think I'm in it for the cup, you know?
I'm in it for the made out of real ghost hair. I mean, what do you like just looking at these brushes, like do a little zoomy zoom.
Do a little zoomy zoom. I mean, there are some shots where the tips very clearly do not come together at a nice point because, you know, they're a nylon synthetic brush and that's not kind of their strong suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say is, I mean, they're probably, let me check the price. Back this project.
So here, it says it right here, 30 USD for $6 or 40 USD for the brush set and a skull cup.
Okay, so the skull cup's 10 buccarinos on its own.
Which that seems like it's cheaper than it could be, but $30 for 6 brushes. It all depends on the performance. Like in the description of the Kickstarter, it says, like, are you looking for high quality brushes for miniature painting? Look no further. Like that's a huge fucking claim. Like when there are brushes on the market that are very good. You know, I have no idea how these work. I never want to assume something without using it. But
right.
In my experience, synthetic brushes are never bringing the heat, really ever. But you know, it is what it is, and if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah. So $40 for premium. They described as premium black nylon detail brush set and the awesome new cup. You can also for like $40, you can get the skull cup filled with assorted RPG dice.
Sick.
So if you like the cup, there are other options here as well. So
I want someone to discover a synthetic brush that's like kick ass. And like, look, we've solved the problem of not needing to deal with import laws for sable hair. Like we've figured it out. Like I would love for that to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. But I'm waiting. That's the next innovation in brush tech. If you can emulate natural hair perfectly with synthetics, you have made a legit product that's going to sell like fucking gangbusters.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta think if it was easy enough, it would have been done by now.
Yeah, you're totally right.
They just don't act the same way. I mean, to bring it down to like a single hair level, it's like then it feels like to me, it's like, well, I just need this one hair to act like that one hair. It feels like it shouldn't be that hard, right? But it is.
It is.
It is. Well, there we go. Kickstarter corner. I appreciate James doing like a random one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, also people like want to give us a whole bunch of money and make sure their Kickstarter gets on the Kickstarter corner. We probably shouldn't do that, but listen, we were going to sell it for $600 and a case of Oreo Cakesters. So what do we know?
We'll take anything. All right, welcome to the end of the podcast. Thank you for hanging out with us and letting us infect your ear holes for a solid 2 hours or 2.5 hours if you are a patron member, which is one of the ways you can support this podcast. How's that for a segue?
I didn't even see it coming.
I got you. I got you. Now you have to give us your money. No, you don't. There are free ways and non-free ways to support the podcast. If you don't have any dollars to spare, that is totally okay. We appreciate many kinds of support, like watching our episodes with ads enabled on Google. We have an ad every 30 minutes, and that supports us if you watch through the whole ad. You can also tell your nerd friends about us. You can also give us reviews on places where you listen to podcasts, like Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts. Give us a little 5-star rating. 5 stars only, please. No, I'm just kidding. Do whatever is honest. If you have some cash to spend, we have a Teespring store where you can buy sweaters, T-shirts, mugs with the TUP logo and more on them. Some Tendy Destroyers or a fun riff to like a fast food meal with fries and ketchup and tenders in a hoodie form. All great designs done by great people. You can also support us on Patreon, where you get access to an extended episode where we talk about things like our favorite model from other content creators and other painters. We talk about new things that we've experimented with in the hobby and failures and success we've had with those experimentations. And we also give feedback to one of our patrons. So as a patron, you can supply models for us to give feedback to, and you can also supply topics for us to discuss during an episode. So yeah, those are all things you get as a patron.
I just farted again really loud.
Did you? I didn't hear it. So
it's more of a rumbly. It's like when you have your subwoofer on in your home theater system, and you're just watching like a Michael Bay movie, and it's like,
yeah, and then all of a sudden the explosion happens, and you're like, oh, there's the sub.
That was just my butt right there.
That was your butt.
Michael Bay butt sub.
Your butt was a butt. Bay butt sub.
You know, we appreciate each and every one of you, and we appreciate you so much. We're gonna be doing this again in 2 weeks because that's when the next episode's coming out. So until that episode, we will catch you on the
Flippity Flop.